Hey everyone, Sawmill Charlie. Well, it's another Friday night here on the chat. Welcome everybody. Hey Keith and Mark and Mike and Darren and Hope. Seen you guys here quite often here lately. As far as in the chat, and there's Kim and Bill. And that's it for right now. I'm going to go ahead and try to drop a link in. And there it is. If anybody wants to pop in, a little bit late, got busy on another little bit of a chat. Hey, Chad. And there's John and Randy and Richard. And here comes Bill, away from Dayton, Virginia. That's weird.
Evening, Charlie.
Hey.
How are you tonight?
Oh, I'm all right. I see this here background with these bees in there. That's a little strange.
Yeah.
I clicked on the start there. Hey, there's hey Brad, and Brian from out in Colorado, and Phil. Clicked on the thing where I guess now when I hit the start go button, it'll automatically go to my lead in clip that Lee made for me and all that stuff. So been cool down in the south there, has it?
Yeah. We've had some frost.
A little bit of frost.
We haven't had a killing frost yet, but we've had some frost.
We had just maybe a shade of frost, not too much. Early in the morning. Yeah. And all that. Bees haven't really been flying.
No, not really. It's been a little too chilly. I mean, the wind that we've had here today has had a bite to it. So right. It's been chilly.
So anyway, I ran out of time to get back to you on your text today, or what?
That's all right. Take your time.
So anyway, last Saturday I was able to take all the feeders off that were left on there. They're all well fed. Closed the hives up, and I put 4-inch entrance reducers on. Hey Rick, good to see you again. I presume you're down in Florida now with your bees. And on. So anyway, that's what I've done so far now. Thinking about maybe putting some insulation on the roof. Had a speaker come in from Bill Hirschbeck. He was in one of my other club meetings and talking about the condensing hive as far as no top entrances, insulated, more or less like an NL hive. Completely insulated, no top ventilation, reduce the feed consumption, and then creates a heat dome with inside the hive.
Yep. So I had a weird occurrence this week. I don't know if anybody's ever heard of it or not, but I had a beekeeper come in and said that she had an electric water blanket over her hives.
What?
Yeah, that's what I said. So evidently it heats the blanket, it heats the water in the blanket, and the water provides heat to the hives. I never heard of it, actually.
And Rick there, Rick's, for everybody don't know, Rick Sutton, he is a commercial beekeeper from Kentucky, and he also has a place in Florida, and he's down in Florida. They got, I presume that's where that Brazilian pepper is, a plant. It's in the swamps down there. I know. I think from what I think I remember Bob Benny talking about it. Now, Rick, did you get hurt by the last hurricane that kind of blew through? Hopefully, you didn't mess up with your hives. All right. So you did, so how did you make out, Rick, with your hives and the hurricane? But anyway, that's weird about putting that blanket on there. I'm like,
It is.
She had what, one hive?
No, she had 4.
Man, that's something crazy.
I've never heard of it.
And all that, I see Brad's in here. How's things up in Manitoba, Brad? Did we do some mite washes or anything like that?
He ought to be about done up there, shouldn't he?
Brad said, hope you helped her understand the principles of wintering.
It was a very long conversation.
Oh my. Hey there, Brad from down in Louisiana. All right, Brad's gonna do OAV. Get the mites knocked down.
Yep.
Hopefully for the winter and everything. Sound like a good idea. There's what Rick was talking.
Well, that's a good thing he didn't get hurt.
That's good, yeah.
There's a lot of them in North Carolina and down in Southwest Virginia that got totally wiped out.
Yeah, I've seen where on Facebook where what's the place you get your bees from down there in Gardeners there, they had a bunch of hives, blew different yard areas, blew them all over, and they were restacking them and packing them and putting them together and stuff like that and all that and all. And then of course Brad up in Canada there, he's kind of putting their bees definitely to bed up there. It did snow down in the Smoky Mountains.
Yep.
About an inch or so. I was talking to Ricky last night. Done rendering beeswax. All right, so you're done rendering beeswax. You got your honey extracted. Hey, Brad, did you get a final count on how many pounds of honey you harvested this year? Just for curiosity's sake. I know it's over 11,000 or more. Hello there, Southern Louisiana family. I believe you're new. At least I think you are. Good. Welcome to the chat. And all that. Anybody else wants to pop in, just go ahead and click on the link. Yeah, and it was over 11,000 pounds on that.
Hey, Danny. Philip.
Now, Danny, is that a friend of yours?
Yeah, he had called me and asked about some pricing.
Okay, I don't have him on my list. That's all.
He was on Monday night as well.
Oh, it's Lee. Okay. Yeah, Lee climbing on the rocks, falling off the rocks. But anyway, that's where I'm at with my bees. Next month, I'll be doing some OA vape. Get out there and hit them at least once or twice a month.
Yeah, we won't do anything else till January.
Hey,
Brad,
Brad.
Hey, what's going on?
Well, not
how's
too
things
bad.
in the big state of Louisiana?
Oh, pretty good. We're starting to cool off a little bit.
You're down to 80, huh?
Yeah. We're actually getting down into the 60s in the morning.
Wow. I'll trade with you.
Oh, really? What you got?
This morning it was 35.
Yeah, that's pretty cold.
Yeah. Kind of a shock to the system when you walk outside.
Now, it wasn't quite that bad. Here is maybe in the, well, at nighttime it's been in the 40s, but most of the time in the 50s, the early morning.
You're up there with all that asphalt and concrete, though.
Somewhat. So, what else you doing, Brad, as far as doing some mite control?
Yeah, I just did a few washes last week, and everything's turned out good so far. I've been
That's
washing
good.
a lot of zeros, and I had one hive that I had a little bit high. I think I had 9 mites in it, but it was the one that I had like 30 something at the beginning when I had told you about all the mites I had.
Yep.
And I don't know if because I did 3 of those treatments of the Apagard, and I don't know if I missed one or what, but I went ahead and threw another treatment on it, and going to check it again in 2 weeks.
Well, I know we had talked just before. Now you were kind of like with me, all the talk about Aprivar resistance and stuff like that.
Yeah,
There's a question for you, Bill, Roy. Anyway, you didn't use that back when it was hot,
mm-mm.
and then your mice skyrocketed.
Mm-hmm.
And then what were you doing?
I was doing those pads and just some OA, but that was just like maintaining the high levels. It wasn't bringing nothing down. Of course, we have so much brood at that time of the year, and really we got a lot of brood right now.
But I mean, you were using what, the OA extended relief pads?
Yeah.
Yeah, and what'd you find with that? It didn't really knock them down. It just kind of maintained, didn't it?
Yeah, it didn't do any knockdown.
Right.
It's hard to say because when I put them in there, the hives were big, and then they condensed down, so you got more mites on fewer bees. So it's kind of hard to say what the pads are doing. But I do have some in there now, and I'm going to keep track of the ones that I got like wash zeros on and see if they stay pretty low. And I just ordered me some more little Swedish pads and stuff to make me some more to keep them on throughout the winter.
And then did you do some Apagard or Formic Pro?
I did the Apagard.
Did you?
That Apagard works.
Now, did you do a full 50-gram treatment, or did you do like
No,
425s?
I did 3 like 33.
Or
on the
333s. Okay.
Yeah.
And what temperature did you do that in?
It was actually pretty good. It was like the highs were like 80, something like that, 85 the most. But I mean, I kind of watched it, and I waited for us to get out those 90s, and
Hey,
then I
Jason.
went ahead and put that on. I did lose a few queens. I think I lost like 5 altogether out of 70. Now, whether it was the Apagard or not, I don't know if all 5 were. Some of them could have been me smashing them during the treatments or whatnot. Anything could have happened. Now, one, I did something I don't usually do. I had a very good hive with a very good queen. She had like 6 frames of solid brood in there. And when I did the last treatment of Apagard, I went back 2 weeks later to check them out, and she was gone. That was five or six frames of cap solid brood and one big old supersedure cell in there. And we're talking about the end of September, seeing a supersedure cell. Well, I had a little Apame mating nuke that I had two queens in. I said, well, let me put one of those queens in there. But then I decided, you know what? I'm going to let that supersedure cell go. And I just checked 2 days ago, which is middle of October now, and she has four. The queen did get mated, and she's laying solid brood. They're not capped yet, but it's solid larva. So I was kind of amazed by that, getting the queen back so late, and a good pattern too.
Mm-hmm.
But we do right now. The dragonflies have gone way down. I don't know if it's because it's getting close to the fall or whatnot. So it's not like when it was in the beginning of September and August when there's a lot of dragonflies. Like right now, I can go outside and there's hardly any in the yard. I mean, you don't hardly see any. So, and I still had drones in the hive. So that's why I let that cell hatch out and try to get it mated just to see what was going to happen. And it turned out okay. So I'm gonna see how.
Yeah, I had a nuke that they had a bunch of queen cells in there, and I went ahead and they were capped. Went ahead and let them go with it, and but they didn't do nothing. That was the last video I put out where I shook them down, divided up all the resources and got rid of all the bees in other hives. But I think the drones were pretty much shot by that time anyway.
Yeah.
And all that. But hey Russell.
I walked into the bee yard I guess it was about a week ago, and there were a whole bunch of bees on the ground in front of all the hives, and I couldn't figure out which hive they came from. And I looked on the ground trying to find a queen and never could spot a queen. And I walked to my shed and I was going to get a little box together, get them to walk into. And they moved up into the top of the tree into a little ball. And I said, shoot, I ain't got time to deal with this right now. And I came back the next day and they were gone. So it's weird to see a swarm at this time of the year.
Right.
So I may have a hive that doesn't have a queen, and I guess I'll just find it when I go do my last inspections, because I'm fixing to go check everybody out and see who needs feed, because we usually do that because right now we got a good flow going on with the goldenrod, and I'm actually getting a lot of syrup in the hive. So they bringing stuff in for the winter. So I'm gonna let the goldenrod finish blooming, and then I'll see who's light, and then I'll just go feed.
You think that Brad says they think they absconded from some other hive, or?
Well, I don't see any hive that's empty, and they were in front of like 6 hives that were pretty busy. So I don't know if it's a swarm or what. I guess I'll find out when I go through the hives.
Yeah. Well, when I pulled those feeders off and everybody, they were all, they were some solid looking bee hives, a lot of bees, stuff like that. They were, when I, covering the top of the frames and stuff like that. Plenty of food in there for them and all kind of stuff. But, so you did 33 at 80 degrees. I don't know. I'm just, of course, it's low. I guess is humidity down there at that time.
Yeah, it's got a lot of humidity, but I didn't see any a lot of bees coming out the hive or anything like that. So I think 33 was a good for that temperature. I think if I'd have did 50, I'd have had some trouble. But and like I said, the 5 queens that came up, gone or dead. I don't know if it was the apagard that did it. I'm thinking maybe especially 2 of them that were doing really good. I'm thinking the bees killed the queens and made supersedure cells. Maybe because of the apagard. I have no idea.
What do you think about that, Bill?
That's possible. That's
because because they had perfect brood. They had perfect sheets of brood. So they didn't do it because she was bad.
Right.
You know, she didn't have any signs of being sick. And they didn't make emergency sales. They just made a super procedure sale in the middle of the
Well,
frame.
you know, the bees know more about it than we do, and they know more what's going on with her than we do.
Yeah.
And if she's sick, we don't normally see the signs early, but the bees know what's happening. So, you know,
Hmm.
she could have been sick, but just not showing signs and symptoms yet. You know?
Or what? I wonder if you figure maybe the thymol smell mask her pheromones and stuff. You know, to
It's possible
yeah,
because the bees react. Not all the bees react the same to it because, like on the little cards, 90% of the bees in my apiary took all the apigard through the hive and removed all the apigard. They even started tearing the card apart. There's about 5% of them that didn't touch the apigard. They built a wall of propolis around the card and never touched. The apigard was dry in the center like a big clump. And it was just a big jump. A big crystal like it had dried up.
yeah. Somebody posted. I don't know if that was you or not. I mean, like you said, it was like a hill of
Hmm.
propolis
Yeah.
and
It was
all.
just, I had never seen so much. They tried to encase the card. And if I'd have left it there, they would have. They would have made a dome over the apigard.
Now
So
James, there he has 2 hives out of 12 that won't take anything from a top hive feeder. Hmm. Will they take it from other sources or other ways, or are they just plumb full? I don't know.
you know,
ADC.
and I got just my bees are just mutts. They're just mixtures of. I've gotten queens from all over the place. So I mean, I don't have one single type bee. You know, like a Saskatraz or just Italians and stuff. They're all crossbreeds. So they're gonna I guess be different acting from each other. But I just found that crazy when I opened up the top and seen those cards. They're just all propolized up and
Right. You know. No, I've been talking between you and Bill and everybody else in the chat. I'm getting my courage up to go ahead and use that Aprigar in July and August. You know, see
mhm.
how it works.
I think if you in the 80s, I mean, and especially if you're a little bit drier than us, it ought to be even better.
Yeah.
You know, we have so much humidity, but as as well as it worked this year, I think I'm going to use it again because I'm talking about I was washing 15s and 20s and stuff like that, and then go back there and there's zeros.
Yep.
So
That's why I
They,
use it.
I was very happy with that because I've used the Apivar before and still wash like twos and threes, you know, even after the Apivar has been in there. So it gets you through the winter without, you know, your bees dying off for us because we don't have hard winters. But I had never washed zeros before in all the hives like that. And I did a lot of washes. I did like 20 washes, you know, out of 70 hives. So I was, you know, spotting it all over the place. But and then I'm gonna go back when I go feed. I'm gonna do some different hives just to do backup checks on the others.
um, there have been some folks that I've had other chats where they've used like formic acid, and they said it didn't do a good job with it. You know, it didn't cut the mites down. I don't know what they're they've used.
The Formic Pro or the Formic
Yeah, Formic
acid?
Pro.
Formic Pro.
I don't know. One guy he lives in Pennsylvania, and he was saying it didn't work for him about a month ago, and I'm not sure. He always seems to have problems anyway. He's got about 50 hives, but I'm just I don't know. He kind of does certain things certain ways. And
Hmm.
one year he had beetle problems. I think it was beetles, and he was thinking the beetles come out of this compost pile and all this other kind of stuff.
Hmm.
And then, like he said, he wanted Mite away quick strips is what he's always been doing, and and all that, and I don't know. It just seemed like he was always having a problem. Now Billy Lee, Brad did use 33 grams 3 times.
Yeah.
And Brad say about the low daytime temperatures. I think this was applied about a month ago.
Yeah,
So
as long as that former pro is applied above 50 degrees, it'll still work. It's slower, but it'll still work. The cooler it is, the slower it is.
yeah, when I applied it on mine, which was the 2nd of September, which was about 75 to 79 degrees, um, it worked great. I mean, I had IPM boards. I was pulling them out, kind of just going to glance over, and some hives had a lot of mites that got killed, and other ones didn't have quite that much, and all that stuff. So, and all that. So, I don't know. I think what it amounts to is I think like Brad, don't you take and do multiple treatments? You know, you have kind of a timeline of doing treatments at certain times,
Hmm.
stuff like that. I had a guy stop by today. He wants me to come down and I'll say inspect his hives for him because he's new and all that. And he said, "Do you think it's time to treat?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I think so. It's kind of past time to treat. You know, he should have been doing that months ago." And but he said he had some apricot in the tins, and I'm like,
Oh
"Well,
yeah.
it'd be next week's going to be in the 70-degree mark, so it'd be time to put that in
Yep.
for sure."
He can just do the whole 10, the whole 50.
Yeah, yeah, I would put the whole darn tin in and come back in 2 weeks. No, Doug, I didn't get any results. That'll be several months, you know. And I'll tell you, that reminds me, Doug, and I got to thinking about this. You know, the last time they inspected me for the now honeybee survey for the National Honeybee Survey, I had a zero point 0.2 mite infestation, which was really low. But that was also after Aprivar and Formic Pro, and it was in October, around about this early October. And so I got to thinking about it. I said, it's not going to be as good, but that's a really it. I think it can be to my advantage because here I'll have the laboratories testing my bees for the amount of mites, and it's only had Aprivar in there. So now we're going to see whether Aprivar does much it was when she came, it was the 6th week because she came in, let's say, on a Tuesday. That Sunday was the date of exactly 6 weeks being in the hive. And I'm gonna figure, well, that's going to be a good um, indicator, I guess you would call it, to see how effective just that one product is, and see how poorly it is or something. Because that's the first thing she said, "Are you going to back this, treatment up?" And I said, "Yeah," because she said I seen some mites like on some drone brood and stuff like that. It was still in the hive and that kind of stuff. So I think it's going to be, yeah, the mite count's going to probably be high, but I'm going to get a definite uh, scientific reading on how well the Aprivar um, does in the hive. So yeah, I'll let everybody know when I do get the papers in, Doug. So
I seen they starting to put out a few of the deals for the knobby.
yeah, Bill's got his up. Hilco's got theirs up. I seen. I had bought some Aprivar through Hound. What's it called? Hound Dog or
Foxhound.
um, Foxhound.
Hmm.
But I haven't seen anything from them except for they say they have the high priced oxalic acid strips
Mm.
and all that, which I'm not interested in that.
Mm-hmm.
And I haven't seen anything else out there. I know Hilco's doing I guess you call it a raffle on an
Oh, when
extractor.
that
12,
extractor, that 12 frame.
yeah, 12 frame extractor.
It's a nice little extractor. Only does
Mhm.
3 deep frames, but I mean, for somebody who
Which one is
does
that?
medium,
Hilco?
yeah, Hilco. Uh, for somebody who does mediums, it's good.
And I got from Foxhound, I bought that beat jacket I've been wearing, which I do like. It does. It's like any of those ventilated suits. They all seem to snag and tear,
Yep.
but I like that one about the best. It has really nice wristlets where they're velcroed and you can keep it tight, and the thumb loop is really heavy duty. Hasn't
Hmm.
torn out any. Um,
Have you ever had a Guardian? I've never have.
Actually, I have. I sent it back.
The
I,
Guardian?
yeah,
I
it's a
thought you
white.
sent back the B Pro.
Was it the B Pro or no? Let's see.
Yeah, yeah, it was the one like mine you sent back.
Oh, it was the B Pro. Yeah, the damn thumb straps pulled out automatic.
Yeah.
I'm like, I haven't got it in the damn high in the apron yet. It's already falling apart. I'm like, hell with this damn suit.
Mine's
And then
okay.
the wristlets area was real loose.
Loose. Yeah.
And I'm like, somebody made mention one time. He said, I think it might have been JCBs. He said, I already tell I don't like this because it's got loose,
Yeah.
wristlets and all that. And
I
he's
kind of
right.
like the ones that have the where you can wrap the Velcro, tighten it up yourself.
That's this Foxhound. That's how that works. That's how it is.
Because everyone I've had with the elastic gets loose sooner or later. So
Guardian, yes. I bought a Guardian at Hive Life 2 years ago or so. It was okay, but I don't know. It was heavy. I like my Foxhound over all the different jackets I had. The Foxhound I like the best. Now
now that
I still have a canvas um, jacket from they're out of business now. The damn company. What the devil there? Brushy Mountain.
Yeah.
And hey, James, good to see you.
now I like Hilco stuff, but that light jacket they got, I got one. It is garbage. The bees sting you through it. I
Yeah.
mean,
It's because it's a lot thinner than a ventilated jacket.
yeah, I mean, when
I
you
was
take
selling them for a while, and people kept saying, "I'm getting stung through this. I'm getting stung through it."
yeah, I mean, if you got a good hive, I mean, when I have calm hives, I go through without a jacket to begin with. When I have a bad hive, I want a jacket that I don't get stung.
Yeah, wanted to work.
As far as an Ultra
Do.
Breeze, I don't think I have had one of them.
Ruby, where's his diapers?
I don't think.
He needs one.
Not sure on that.
He has to have a bath.
But I don't know. I have to say I like my Foxhound as far the only complaint I have, and people look at me like I'm strange. I said it's left-handed. The zipper is
The
left-handed.
zipper, yeah,
It's like, and then what do you mean? I said, well, the zipper part that goes up and down is supposed to be on your right hand side.
yeah,
So
with
you
the flap.
Well, you stick the two parts in the zipper thing, and the part that you pull up with the ring to zip your suit up, it's supposed
Yeah.
to be on the right hand side, and on that jacket's on the left hand side.
Well,
Yeah.
Charlie, you know something? Women's shirts button on the left and men's button on the right. You might have a woman's jacket.
Big jacket for a big woman. I don't know.
Is it very roomy up top?
No, well, yeah, I guess. Here, Bill, you answer that.
No, it's on my website, shenandoahbeesupply.com. They haven't put it up on the Navi page yet.
Now, Lynn, you say you got a foxhound full suit, and she likes the back door opening, being a what female. What's it got a split behind?
Go get your diaper, go.
Hmm. Anyway, but so anyway, that's Go ahead. Do you want to put your website up, Bill? So that the one that what was his name? Want to go to your site? Chad Edwards.
Yeah.
I think you can go to what is it? You go to the vendors area and you can click on it there. I believe. Hey, Connie Craig. Andrew. So,
You should be able to see my screen now. They should be able to see my screen. I'm sharing it.
Share or what? Oh,
Yep.
there he goes.
If you go right there where it says Bee Expo Navi Specials, you'll see everything I got on sale for Navi.
Just go to Shenandoah Bee Supply.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
Where did my cursor go?
There you go, John. John's answers questions.
Yes, I will definitely have the best price on them because Acorn is going to be selling deeps. I'm going to be selling mediums. And if you pre-order them, I can bring them. I'll have them at the show.
Hey, Joseph. Okay. He's still at the fairground, but the internet connection is slow.
He must be in North Carolina. Or right, Charlie?
What's that?
Because North Carolina State Fair is going on right now too.
Joseph's is down in what is it, Louisiana, Brad?
Okay.
Yeah, he's in Louisiana.
Yeah, he's down in Louisiana. Hey, Mike, Minnesota, Mike.
I think he's southeast.
So, Mike, up in Minnesota, how's things up there? Is it cold and snowing up there yet? Yeah, Rick, that's where I get my bees from. I bought 10 nukes this year, and they were slamming nukes. And Lynn from Baltimore Beekeepers, she got some. Um, and I also bought 15 queens from them, and the queens are doing exceptionally well. They're sort of a I think they're carniolan and all that. Um, I've had good luck with them. You can call Chuck up, or actually, I think you could. Well, you can call Chuck Kudik if you know him. I'm sure you know him, or his right man. Oh, I can't think of his name right now. Um, hey, Lynn, what's Octavio? Yeah, and then Octavio takes care of the nukes down in South Carolina, not too far from where Bob lives, about an hour. That's where they raise all their winter bees. And he also does a lot of, I think it's blueberry pollination services in the area and all that. I can't remember. Yeah, Ruben Octavio. Yeah, he pretty much runs the nuke operation down in South Carolina. Rick, good fella.
DC asked a question a while ago. I think he was asking somebody about me. Yes, I do ship. And I'm actually lower than the acorn price for my everyday price as well on those frames.
Um, I don't know about that, Steve. Where's Daisy Honey out of here? Yeah, there we go. I don't know. I'm an okay beekeeper. I still have a lot of learning to do. Of course, we all do that.
Well, you passed the big hurdle is getting them through the winter multiple years in a row.
Well, that's true, but experience as far as mite treatments, having a good, and I've been tweaking and tweaking my mite treatment program using multiple treatments at certain times of year. At Groveland, Florida. Well, Rick, let me ask you something. I mean, I've always heard, the folks down there, they have a problem, and the queens out of Florida, they have a tendency to be, what do you call it?
Africanized.
Africanized a little bit. Have you had that problem out of David? I don't really know him. Hi, Todd.
Hey, James.
Um, I don't know. Like I say, I get them through the winter. I treat. I'm on top of it. Like the guy came to me today for my help. Wanting to pay me and all. I'm like, should have been treating back in July, but they don't know that. He's only been at it for a year or two.
Now, I guess
Hasn't really,
the The biggest question I've got is, has he ever had a face-to-face class?
Has he ever been to a classroom, this guy? No.
Yeah, see, that's the problem.
Well, he wants to get into the class that my club puts on and through the college. And he's been missing it. He talked about that today. Hey, Ian. Looks like we got some. All right, Rick. They're not Africanized. Okay, that's cool. Ian or Rick Sutton. Ian Stepler's in. I'm sure you know Ian, maybe through Facebook or YouTube. Ian's got about 1,600 to 1,800 hives. And Ian, Rick Sutton there, he's got about 16 or 1,800 hives, commercial beekeeper. And then, of course, there's Brad, or the bee man at Faith Apiary. He's got about 125 or 150 of them here lately. Ian's a hobbyist? I don't think so. Now, Rick, you're saying on whose waiting list? Guy out of Florida or Chuck Kudik's waiting list? Or, I mean, Octavio's. Russell's got 170 of them. All right, so Brad says that's how you introduced Ian to your club or your convention up there. Well, it must be. And then you got Doug in here from Longman Apiaries. He's got, what is it, 300 or so more? I think that's what it is, or more. He did over 40,000 pounds this year. You know, the rest of us are hobbyists or sideliners. I guess we're
There you go.
I guess we're sideliners. And all that. You're the biggest beekeeper. You're the biggest beekeeper in shorts. I never seen somebody. You're out there, and to me, it's colder than ice out there, and you're in shorts. I can't believe it. Yeah, well, I don't know where Alex is. Alex is from Quebec. You got Manitoba and you got Saskatchewan represented here. You've been on his, or Rick, you say you've been on this David Miska's list for 8 years and you haven't got a bee from him yet? I think I'd say take a hiking.
Yeah, really, I'd be looking somewhere else for whatever you need.
Yeah, Rick, are you going to Nobby? Hmm.
You got a lot of Canadians on here tonight.
Oh, yeah, you got James on here too. He's got,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how many hives he's got. He's always fluctuating, selling some of them off and everything. Hayes Nature Sweet Bees.
I haven't seen a video from him lately.
No, he's been quite busy. He bought that 60 frame Cowan extractor and he's been completely refurbishing it. I do know that he took his bee barn and turned it into a honey house for that Cowan. I don't know where he's going to put his bees at.
I'll tell you that guy. I think he's in France. What's his name? Richard Knoll. I think it
Richard,
is.
oh yeah.
He has an awesome bee honey house he's making.
He's also in the UK.
Yeah, Ian, let me see. Rick, he spoke at Hive Life down there. What was it? The first year over, or the second year at Hive Life, which was at down there. Shoot, what's the name of that area? Sevierville. And all that. Yeah, I like. Rick did a great job talking about setting up cell builders, as we were talking about last week.
Yeah, exactly.
There's James. Yeah, James, we need an update. You know, you got your honey house set up now, and you got the 60 frame cow. We got to have a demonstration of that because you totally, I'm sure, rebuilt it from the ground up.
I mean, he needs to make a video. I mean, Ian's busy too. He still makes videos.
That's right. You got to keep up with Ian there, James. You know, if Ian can make videos, you can make them too.
Yeah.
You know, Ian's been out there shelling corn and cutting beans and everything else, and then using these speed discs.
I mean, you see him rebuilding a truck, a bee truck, rebuilding a combine, rebuilding all kind of stuff, and can't make one video.
All right, he's going to post one this weekend. Well, that's cool.
We want to see that honey house.
Rick's going down to ABF, American Bee Federation, Beekeepers Federation.
Where is that at this year?
That's going to be an expensive conference.
Isn't that Arizona or someplace?
Reno.
Reno?
Yep.
Is that the one that was in New Orleans last year?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, another thing is let's see.
That's a long conference too. It lasts like a week.
Yeah, it's a week. We were going to send a rep out there, and by the time we priced meals, hotel room, and airfare, it was almost $3,000. So we said, I don't think so.
Well, I don't know. Let's see. Brian from Flower Street out in Colorado, he went to it last year. He had a free ride to it. And he wasn't impressed at all. And
I think isn't it mostly like for like a lot of it's for like businessmen and stuff like.
Well, it's definitely for commercial. It kind of dwells on the, from what I understand, the economics of selling honey and then having kind of trying to keep the damn Chinese honey, keep our markets up, you know, so somebody who's doing it for a living like these guys here are, try to keep their, you know, business afloat, getting some decent money. You know,
yeah, I looked at it last year since it was in New Orleans, and for one thing, the tickets are expensive too.
Yep.
Yeah, Ian says
unless you're a member of a club or a state organization that has joined ABF, you can send a rep, and that rep gets in for free.
Well, that's what Brian is. He's a rep for, I'll say, the state of Colorado.
Yeah.
And then he also went there last year after the week after Nobby. That's where he visited Lee and everybody. And I don't know. That's also the same place where the national beekeeper inspectors go. They have their own little meeting there. I know the one gal that was at my place that went there also, and that kind of stuff. Okay, Rick's going to Reno plus go over to Vegas for a bull ride championship. I didn't think you were a bull rider there, Rick.
I hope he's going to
Mm,
watch.
mm. I don't know. A friend of mine, well, actually, it was my brother. He went to his wife's into horses and stuff, and I don't know. He got hooked up with
Later,
one of the
late.
got to know one of the professional bull riders, and a young fella. But man, his body was all tore up and everything. Totally tore up. Now Lee, he's going to tear up too if he keeps falling off the side of a rock.
He fell off a rock.
Well, yeah, he was climbing there, and luckily he had this gnome. He had this guy with his green beard. He didn't have his
Hmm.
pointy hat on, but he had his hard helmet on, and Lee kind of fell down on top of him, and he broke Lee's fall for him.
Where were they climbing at?
I don't know, some rock. That's all I can tell you. Had this big crack going up through there, and he was trying to scale this here sheer cliff for fun.
That's one thing that's not on my list.
No, and he says it's supposed to be fun. Uh, yeah, now Lee's got to run to the store probably for some Ben Gay.
Or more Advil.
Yeah, more Advil or ibuprofen, one of the two.
I had a when I used to work on chillers and boilers, I had a boss that wanted to be one of those guys who would go with the vehicles on them rock trails, and they how they get stuck in those rocks
Yeah,
and
yeah, the rock climbers.
big
Yeah,
big boulders, and he spent all this money on this rock climber Jeep that he bought, and was too scared to even go on a gravel road once he went there once. I mean, he spent thousands of dollars on this machine, and basically just rode the trails with the cars because he was too scared to go on the trails. He realized what it was once he got there. I mean,
yeah,
they got it's like a 3-man crew. They got to have one guy in the front with a winch and holding the vehicle from overturning, and it's a lot more effort than it looks like on TV.
yeah. Hey Phil, I don't know whether I killed a. I noticed that tonight myself that the heart thing has been turned off or something. And all that. And Darren, I think he's trying to say, I feel like that many treatment free beekeepers depend on swarm catches to keep themselves in business.
That might be true. Might be true. But then again, they might be catching their own bees too.
Mm-hmm.
Well, a lot of the treatment-free guys, they do catch a lot of swarms. I mean, they got to catch a lot of the bees local to the area and that can survive, and then
Hey,
reproduce
Bracken.
losses.
Hey, Bracken from Utah. What's up? I was watching your planting wheat video there. Of course, you know that because I commented on it and all that. You want to jump in tonight? Come on in. You can tell us all about Utah. And Bracken there, it's Barker Bees and honey. He's got, I think you send out what? A couple of loads of bees to Almonds.
Yeah, I
He's,
think he makes videos too, don't he? Because I've watched
Make some videos. Yeah. He could come on in and we can pump him up because he doesn't have enough subs. He needs subs. All you got to do is click up on the link there and if you got a video camera, it'd be good, and a sound. I'm sure you do. I think you've been on some of the other folks' stream.
Well, guys, I got to go to bed.
You got to go to bed. It's only 9:00.
We got 20-some acres hay to get up tomorrow, so.
Really? You're going to do haylage tomorrow?
Yeah, we got 20-some acres hay down. We tethered it today. It's dry. It's ready to go. So.
You're going to chop it, blow it, or
it's going to get round baled.
You're going to be round baled. Okay, and then what are you going to do? Wrap it?
No, it's dry enough to put net wrap around it and stack it.
What is? I see a lot of that now around here. I've never used to see them wrap it with plastic. What does that do for it?
That's called haylage. They make it when it's wet, and it holds nutrients in the hay longer.
Oh, okay.
Then you feed it wet.
Yeah, it kind of I won't say it molds. It ferments.
It doesn't make it get hot.
Yeah.
Yeah, it gets hot.
It gets hot and it's kind of like a sideways silo. It kind of ferments and gets all nice and stuff, and then the cows eat it like candy.
Oh yeah, they love it.
They like that.
Yep.
It doesn't get moldy, does it?
No.
No. Okay.
But you got to feed it pretty quick.
You got to. Once you make haylage, that's what you got to start feeding till it's gone.
Okay. Yeah, I've never used to see that around here. Now they're starting to do it more and more. I guess it looks like they ship a lot of it out.
Yeah, we got people around here that bale corn stalks and everything else.
We got a lot of farmers that make the round bales and they send them to Texas, especially when Texas has a lot of droughts and stuff.
Yeah,
we have a lot of hay in Louisiana with all the wetness and stuff. So they ship tons of hay to Texas.
Yeah. All right. Well, I will see everybody Monday night, 8:00. So,
all right, 8:00 on you.
And stay out of trouble, Charlie.
Yeah, I'll give you a buzz here tomorrow. I think I have.
All
well,
right.
You're going to be busy working tomorrow. I'll wait tomorrow evening or something like that when you're not busy.
All right. Thank you.
All right. See you.
Bye.
Hey, Bracken. I think that's how you pronounce your name, right? Are you there?
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, I recognize that dude. I've seen his videos.
What's up?
Not much.
My picture is terrible here. My lighting is horrible.
Yeah, it's kind of darkish in there. Yeah.
Can't get a. Oh, well, we'll have to make do.
Whatever. So, you're kind of new to the show here, I guess you'd call it.
Yeah.
Everybody. I mean, I know that you're out in Utah, northern Utah is what you would describe. I guess is that the Rocky Mountains behind on your place?
Yes, it is. Yep,
okay.
That's right.
It's a pretty landscape out through there.
Yeah, it is. We actually just got rain for the first time, and I think the last time it rained was in August, and it rained about a half an inch here, which is for us. That's
a lot.
That's a lot. Half inch.
Yeah. Yeah, especially after you just planted what was it, about 30 or so acres of wheat?
Yeah, I planted about 50 acres actually.
Yeah.
I didn't video all of it, so.
Yeah, you said you had a 19-acre field and several different acre fields, so I kind of figured it out.
Yeah.
But let everybody else know, how many hives you're running, and I know I would say commercial, right?
No, I've only got about 40.
All right.
Yeah, I wish. So,
didn't you say you were sending them out to California for almonds and stuff like that?
Yeah. Yep. So I got a buddy that lives down there in Chico, California, that he's gonna take them. I've sent them. This will be my 3rd year sending them to California.
Uh-huh. Now, what are you over there with Jose and Chico?
No, I'm not over there with Jose. I wish. This
Okay.
other guy's name's Oki. He sells bees. He's a queen breeder.
Well, that's what Jose does too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Jose, I know the California beekeeper, right?
Yeah, the California beekeeper,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. No, I'm not going with him. It's another guy. So,
Okay.
but yep. So I don't have. Yeah. So I wish I had more. I wish I was a full-time commercial guy, but I'm not. I
How
run
do
the
you find
farm.
how do you find your bees come back from California? Do you have to treat them a lot, or they treat them over there? How does that work for you?
So this last year, they kind of had a. I sent them with a broker, with another beekeeper, and there was some pretty serious miscommunication that got. I didn't go out with them personally with the bees, and I kind of got screwed. So this year I'm actually.
I think your other friend got screwed too there down in Georgia. What's shoot?
Bruce.
Huh?
Bruce.
Yeah.
Bruce's bees from
Yeah,
Alabama.
Bruce's bees. Yeah, didn't he have the same situation?
Yeah, I don't know his story, but yeah, I know he didn't have super great luck. But yeah, so they come back. When they've come back the last 2 years, they've been great. I mean, they're full boxes. I can split them 3 ways, 4 if you really wanted to. You know, it just depends on how bad you want to cut down. But it's been pretty good. I've like I said, this last year was a little bit of a hiccup, so I decided I'm going to do it myself.
Well, what was the hiccup that you had? What happened to him?
Well, the beekeeper that had them down there, or that was taking them for me, ended up in jail. Yeah, that was. There's Philip, whoever Philip is on the comments there. Yeah, he. I sent him with the bees, and he says, "Okay, I'll get them down there." And then another thing, they ended up. Some of them didn't even end up going down. They were stuck over in Logan, Utah, and Logan has some pretty wicked cold weather. And he told me that all of them were down there, and then when things were going on, I came down I finally ended up finding out where he was, and then when I talked to him, he told me half my hives were still over in Logan and not even in the almonds, and I was like, what the heck?
Well, what did he do? Get arrested in Utah somewheres or something?
Yeah, I'm not going to say too much.
I don't matter what happened. I mean, it's just the fact that you got a tractor and trailer load of bees there, and they're going to die on you if you don't get them up and running.
Yeah, so I thought they were down there being kept and maintained, and luckily there was another beekeeper that stepped in, and he ended up. Well, he saved my butt, is what he did. He ended up taking them and getting them into some almonds, and he ended up getting them shipped back, and then we were able to get that taken care of.
So you and your buddy are no longer buddies.
Yeah, I haven't talked. I'm pretty sure he's still in jail, so I haven't talked to him, which is unfortunate.
This is the best Friday night ever.
Yeah, he really is a good dude. He not to end on, you know, he just made some mistakes and some stuff happened, and you know, not to talk ill of him. He is a good dude.
What is that? What is the average of like someone gets paid to, like the way you do it? Just send your bees with someone.
Hey, Matt.
Because he would keep a cut, so he'd take them down, and he'd pay me like $80 a colony, something like that. But
you got shipping, and then you got
The,
to get them graded.
right.
What is it? 5 or 6 frames of bees minimum, I think it is.
Yeah, so from my understanding, A grade is like 8 or more frames. A B grade is like 6 to 8. C grade is 6 and below. So just depending on where they sit in the frames of bees.
Yeah.
But
Now Rick Sutton, he said he quit sending bees out to California 5 years ago. He's got about 1,800 hives. He travels between Kentucky and Florida.
oh wow.
And I don't know whether. And the bees came back. What, Rick? I guess in bad shape, maybe. I don't know.
Seems like the bees came back and then it.
Well, Charlie, what happened? You said something happened to Bruce. I know he didn't send bees this year.
Bruce did kind of the same thing that Bracken did here. Is no, you got it. Bruce sent him out to fill out a load with a commercial beekeeper where he lives.
Mm-hmm.
The way I understand what Bruce has talked about, and he's done it, I think, a couple years, and he didn't go to jail in California, Rick. It was in Utah. They're a little harder over there. I don't know why, but
Yeah.
anyway. But I don't know. Bruce talked about coming back. I mean,
Yeah, he just
reports
talked
I
about
have
this.
heard is where you'll get paid $200 and some a hive, but like you say, you got shipping cost, which is a good amount of money.
Mm-hmm.
To go out and to come back if you want
Yeah.
your bees. There's a lot of guys that go out there. You'll see the ads. I got so many hives for sale out in California for pickup, and they'll sell them out there because they'll make more money by selling the hives out there and not having to
And
pay the
shipping them back.
stuff
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah. How do I comment on those chats while I'm watching this? Does anybody-
You have to join the comment side of it.
I'm gonna-
Are you? Do you see the comments on the right hand side?
Yeah, but it won't let me.
Yeah, you have to join the comments. You have to go through a different.
What do you mean, Brad? I mean, I got
Like-
there's this
like-
post a comment on the bottom down there.
Yeah, but whenever you first sign in, it don't
That
let you.
works.
There you go.
Sweet. Oh man, look at me all getting all technical and fancy.
But so anyway, like you say, less than $100 a hive. It wasn't worth it.
Well,
the aggravation.
It was for me because the bees came back and they were. I made more off selling Nucs and stuff. So because when they're here in Utah, they're surviving. I mean, my winters aren't like. Where are you guys from?
Well, I'm from Maryland, and then
I'm from Louisiana.
he's from Louisiana. It's still 80 degrees down there.
Yeah, it was 80 degrees last week here. So, but yeah, our winters, I can either keep them here and survive them and get them through the winter, and then they slow start in spring, or they send them down there to California. They do, if they get in the almonds and they do good, they come back, and I'm making splits and stuff before my buddies around here even have enough bees that are fly. I do have to feed them when they get back because there's not a lot of forage, stuff for them here in bloom because they come back
From what
April.
I've seen, they don't get a lot of nectar from the almonds anyway, huh? They get mostly pollen, huh?
Yeah, and what they do get as far as nectar from them, I just keep it in the box. I don't harvest any of that.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
That just
and
stays.
Rick says they never come back as good as they go out.
Yeah,
I think it's pretty hard on them out there, and I think they also spray. It's supposed to spray at night, and I don't, whether it's a fungicide or just what it is.
Well, I guess it depends on who's doing your bee. Because I watched a couple of videos with a guy that he's a big shipper to California, and he went with his bees, and the farmers had signed contracts to spray at night. And when he went down there with his bees, they were spraying in the daytime.
Oh man.
Yeah, well, and because he had a large number of bees dying, he had bees. He was showing bees dead in front of the box. He couldn't understand it, and he kind of like staked out the farmer, and come to find out they were spraying in the morning. So the bees were hitting the flowers in the morning, getting the fresh poison, and then he was spraying while the bees were in there.
Utah Bee Man's in.
Oh yeah, what's up, Glade? It's hard because I'm a farmer as well. I'm not a big time farmer. We got a little over 100 acres, but like I caught some flack the other day on.
That's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing, Bracken. I mean, well, actually, my son is. He's taken over the last 4 or 5 years, but we do about 100 and some acres.
Yeah, so
that's good, and that's enough for me.
Yeah, there's times when, I mean, I don't know anything about almond and farmers and how they grow that stuff. I understand the pollination part, but like, man, sometimes you have to spray when you have to spray. I'm not saying that spraying in the morning is good, because it's not, but I sprayed an alfalfa field a little while ago and I caught some flack on here. People saying, "Oh my gosh, you're a beekeeper and you're spraying," and I'm like, "Well, I did it smart. There was no bloom on the alfalfa."
You see my hives right there, don't you?
Yeah,
the background there, and you see all them hay fields around there. Now my son's out there doing broadleaf, broadleaf spray, and my bees don't have a problem. He's doing that, cleaning the fields up, trying to keep all the weeds out of it and everything like that. Yeah. And then over the years, up on the top of the crest of the ridge up there, that's where that 30 acres was I was telling you about in the comments, where he planted here several weeks ago, right before the rain came in. And that's been corn and beans for the last 10 or 15 years. We rented it out, and he's up there spraying with either, paraquat, as I call it, back, where it's, a complete burn and all. And my bees never had any problems with that kind of stuff. And that was back in the days when they thought corn was the problem with bees instead of the mites back. They didn't understand what the hell was going on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I mean, we have crop dusters that spray around here in the summertime, and I never have a kill off of bees.
Right.
But I always think about it when I hear the plane, because he flies in the field next to and I think about it, and I'm like,
well, I'll tell you, there's a funny story about, like you saying, about crop dusting. The guy that was renting, putting corn in, he needed a crop duster come in and spray the corn because the corn was too high, because he's got one of them 90-foot booms, with a $100,000 spray machine, but he was too big. The corn was too tall, and there's a road up along there with a bunch of houses, and I happened to be up there, and that darn plane went right through there. And I think every person in every house, the front doors opened up and they're out on their front porch. What is going on? They never seen nothing like that before. That was funny. But now everything's a drone. They're spraying, they're spreading cover crops with drones. I mean, I'm talking huge. They got 4-foot wingspans on the drones.
Yeah, I've never seen that around here.
Oh, I mean, we're talking 4 propellers, and each propeller has a 4-foot wingspan. Mm-hmm. It's all GPS run, and it'll sit down. The one guy's got a flatbed truck, and he'll bring it into home base, which is the flatbed truck, and land that thing on the truck, and then fill it up with. He was doing cover crop.
Yeah, go jump on my channel and you can watch that. It's like a 6-minute video, but it's of a guy. He was spraying with a drone. That's what it was. It's pretty sweet. And yeah, that thing.
That must be some expensive drones.
Yeah, he said the drone was about $60,000.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's.
I guess a plane is expensive too, though. But so
Yeah. Yep.
I'm gonna answer a couple questions. Rick, he wants to know about the fat bee man. I definitely not on the videos anymore at all.
no, I haven't seen him in a long.
I don't know what his health. I know he was in the hospital there for a while, a year or more ago, but that's about it. Now, Doug here, Longman Apiary, he's up in Saskatchewan, Canada. He had 50 hives killed by aerial spray up there and all that. I don't know what they were spraying, but I mean, it can be definitely
I guess it depends what they're spraying, also,
and what they're spraying and stuff. I mean, I'm gonna say that sprays are harmless to bees, that's for sure. I mean,
and I guess it depends if the bees are actually hitting that crop that they're spraying. If they're not hitting that crop, then it won't really matter.
yeah. And then Brad wants to know whether Doug got paid for his hive.
It was who?
What's that?
What's that?
I don't know. I'm lagging here.
Okay.
Can
I
you hear
see where
me?
you said something. The DCBs.
Yeah, talking to him a little bit.
I don't know. Anyway,
Somebody asked about what if I got paid, or was that somebody else?
that was Doug. Doug didn't get paid for his, from the applicator guy.
Yeah.
But what were you spraying for? Spittle bugs or something like that?
No, we were rotate. We got to get this field leveled, and alfalfa roots are like carpet, so we had to spray it, kill the plant. Then I planted a 3-way in it, and that will help. That'll help break up that roots on that alfalfa. Then we can go in with a big leveler and level it. But
all right, so you were doing a kind of like paraquat defoliant.
Yeah. We were spraying.
That's what my son did up here. He sprayed had some wheat growing, some second voluntary wheat, and he killed that off, and then came back and took a no-till drill and drilled in the grass seed. Yeah. So, but anyway, you got 40 some highs. You're selling Nucs. How many Nucs you sell on average a year or so?
I don't know, a dozen, not a whole lot. I've been trying to grow mine. I keep quite a few. I really like Ian Stepler, his Nuke battery thing. I've really tried to follow. I don't know. I like his strategy, and I like the way he does things. So I kept a bunch of Nucs for myself, and I have backups that I can drop in and put. I've made quite a few Nucs, but this year, next 2025, I plan on selling quite a few more. I actually just started doing a little beekeeping class, basic, because there is nobody in this area that does bees. There is, but there's no resources to reach out to.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you can reach out to Ian because he's listening in right now.
Oh yeah, is he? Yeah, I model. I try to. I know his is a huge scale compared to mine. It's farming and stuff, but a lot of it's the same basics and. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I same situation for me up until this year. I would sell Nucs and anywhere from, I'll say, a dozen to 20 of them a year, and I got into the Nuc business because of Michael Palmer years ago, and his, he brought back the idea of having a Nuc hive as a backup, and having a hive that's a little more sustainable and stuff. And it has. And this year I've switched my business model where I'm going to go a little bit more heavy on the honey production. And I still I can have up to, right now I got about 8 Nucs. I'm going to have up to at least 12 Nucs, but that's more for, I'll call them insurance hives. If one of I got a 10 frame production hive that's went down on me, or the queen went bad, and I'll be taking one of my Nucs and dropping that in place in the wintertime. And then, and then on top of that, I want to use instead of me selling nukes, I want to use them for resource hives so I can set up my cell builder and set up my 2-frame mating boxes. I built my own boxes, which are full frames and not the little teeny where you put a couple bees in. And I patterned that off of another video guy. I forget what his name was. Barnyard Bees, I guess it was. And I made a 2-frame mating box like they did. I don't know. I think I would go 3 frames if I was going to individual boxes like that. But then when you say 3 frames, you might as well do a 5-frame box and just put a filler or a follower board in there. And then you got the best of anything. You can do any kind of amount of high. You can just keep adding frames and make it roll into a full-fledged nuke instead of having specialized boxes. So I'm going to kind of get back into raising my own queens and selling some queens. And then honey production. Honey production is the one guy close to me. He went out of business and been pointing everybody to me. So sales have been good. And as far as honey production and nukes, I don't know. I guess really I don't know whether you have this problem or not, but when you sell a box of bees to somebody, the sale doesn't end when you take the money. It's like, well, can you tell me how to put them in the box? Can you do this? Can you tell me that? Tell me this. Should I do this and should I do that and all that?
When should I do that? When should I?
Now you're making mini classes for everybody that bought a box of bees from.
Yeah. So that's kind of my. I would like to get. Start a little club or something, or people who are interested in, and then if, okay, this is when you get a nuke, this is the steps, this is what you do. I'm not going to sell packages. So if they want to buy bees from me, that's cool, but I don't do packages. So, but yeah, just a little step-by-step, man, it's important to be able to have good resources and help people out with the bees. The biggest thing that I'm seeing, and I know most people do, but people have bees and they think they're doing well and doing good with them and helping the environment, but they're not treating them for mites. They're not doing, washes or anything. And then people who are taking good care of their bees, they're over there robbing them and getting, bringing those mites back from them. And it's hurting the other beekeepers more than it helps them.
I have this.
Roy there, he says he printed off Bob Benny's instructions. I guess it was on one of his videos. I'm not sure. And just say, here's all of the instructions. I also have, they're not on tonight, via honeybees. They do the same thing where they have I don't know whether it's some videos for them to watch that they've made, and some links to go learn how to, install bees and stuff. And they're out in St. Louis, and they also are very fully involved in their local bee club too, as board of director type administrators and stuff, and trying to get people same complaint everywhere across the country. Everybody's going to do the YouTube thing. And I'm like, yeah, YouTube's great. I mean, I put out a lot of videos, everybody does. But there's a lot of things, there's questions that need to be answered that if you go to a local club, because let's face it, local beekeeping is local, and that could be within 5 miles from one person to the next. Yeah. As far as what, people like for myself, you have a fall flow. No, I don't really have a fall flow. Yes, I do have the goldenrod, but it doesn't produce a nectar source for me. I got a friend of mine that's 20 miles up the road, closer to a river, and they have a fall flow where they'll get an extra 500 pounds of honey. So it's, local can be within miles of each other, depending on what resources your bees are, have available to them and stuff like that. But anyway, so you sell a dozen nukes or so, and then you I guess are you doing honey?
Yeah. Yeah, I sell quite a bit. Well, that's right now. That's my main income for the bees. Paying for them and selling the honey. I've debated whether or not I want to either focus on the pollination, or I know honey is kind of a byproduct and you're going to get honey regardless, but I'm still fairly
depends on what your market is. You got to, if you develop a market, whether or not you kind of, if you can send 400 hives on a tractor and trailer out to Cali and get the premium pay and minus the trucking fees,
right.
you might do pretty good that way. Or whether or not you have a big honey market in your area. I'm not saying wholesale, maybe more retail. I do all retail. I don't go to farmers markets or nothing. I have a business here at the house where people come in all the time. And I think I sold about, 10 or 15 pounds just today. I think it was, they came in, which is, there you go. That's a good one, Rick.
Rick, let's see.
Ask your questions down. Don't bug me later. I'm too busy. And all that. But so how many nukes are you trying to keep for yourself as far as backup?
Right now I've got off top hand, I think I have 10 that I'm going to try to winter. And I'm going to try to winter them in a 5-frame. They're sitting pretty heavy. They've got a lot of feed in them. I pumped a lot of feed in them. I'm going to try. This will be my first time trying this year, overwintering a 5-frame Nook. So last year here's the thing that I've been trying. So people in my area, from when I started out, everybody said I had to overwinter in 2 deeps, right? Which is a common thing that I see around the beekeepers, but I want to try to do single deep just for, room and time and equipment. And I did it with a couple of them last year, and they actually overwintered really well, and they were some of my best colonies here in this last year. So I keep enough. I don't keep many. Like I said, I think I got about 10. I haven't ever. My daughters. I don't know if you guys can hear that.
Yeah, we can hear it.
I remember the days. I remember the days.
We guys need to talk for a minute, and I'll mute my thing. He's having a moment. But sorry.
I like when they do that. I like when they do that in the restaurant.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you just. Hi everybody. Sorry, I got
And now Glade there. I haven't met Glade. I seen actually where are we at? Are we getting behind on one side or the other? One side seems to be a little bit slower than the other. Oh, here we go. And that's so true. You sit there and you tell them what to do, and 3 weeks you talk to them. Well, I didn't get around to doing that.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, then what? Why did you? You've wasted my time, and then your bees are dying on top of it.
Yeah, I had this man that bought nukes from me last year, or this spring, I should say. He came by 5, and he called me back up after about 2 weeks, and he said, "Hey, you got any more nukes?" And I said, "Yeah, I can get you some more." I said, "You, how many more you want?" He goes, "I'll take 5 more." I said, "Well," when he came pick up the bees, I said, "How many hives are you trying to keep?" He says, "Oh, I usually try to keep around 10 to 15 hives." I said, "Well, how many you got at your house right now?" He says, "Well, I got the 5 that I bought from you, and I'm gonna have these 5." I said, "Well, what happened to your bees last year?" "Oh, they died." I said, "Well, what are your plans for these?" He says, "Let me know next year if you got any more bees for sale."
Hey, Glade.
I'm not like, you just rolling the dice, or what are you doing?
Yeah, I kind of remember meeting you, Glade, at Nobby and Bracken. Were you at Nobby or have you been there? No. Oh, it's a killer. That's the ultimate.
I know. I need to make it.
You need to make it. I mean, I don't know. It's, uh, you know, time for this old. You're gonna check out, are you, Rick?
Oh,
All right, Rick. Well, good to see you. I'm glad that you're back. And all that. Appreciate you coming in and hanging out with us sideliners and also and some of the all the commercial guys from up in Canada a lot. So we'll see you next Friday night, hopefully.
You guys do this
Yeah,
every
Glade, I'll be there next year for sure. I already got my ticket, got my room and everything like that. And you need to yank a hold of Bracken here and drag him out there this coming January. And if some people have a hang up because it's right there on New Year's Day, but I'm like, I don't go out and party anymore. So it's like, I'm ready.
Yeah, I done had enough New Year's days anyhow.
Yeah, New Year's is done with me. I'm ready to get. If anything, I'll go out New Year's Eve in the car and travel halfway out and get a room, and then travel the rest of the way to get out to.
I used to be one of those that would stay up with the kids and pop fireworks on New Year's Eve and stuff like. Now I'm like, when would those damn kids stop popping all those fireworks? I can't sleep anymore. The kids are all grown up and you don't want to deal with that no more.
Right. But I'll tell you, that was something I was talking on a chat before I got on mine is, with, Cayman has kind of with his, conference has pretty much set the bar as far as quality and there's nothing in comparison to that to
No.
Nobby. I mean, size of vendors, the amount of vendors, the speakers, of course, the one group that I was on prior to coming on to my show tonight.
I think it would be hard.
They're kind of like, what is it? And they're not YouTubers. I said, look, you got to understand, Nobby was developed around YouTube beekeepers and content creators, and it was sort of what's the word for that? Not a click, but the YouTube world, and it's kind of like going to Vegas, huh?
YouTube clan.
Yeah, it's not. It's a different word. I'm thinking of a word.
Community.
Yeah,
community.
It's one of them slang words that.
Yeah.
But
not woke. No.
I don't know. Can you tell me what that means? Because I looked it up on the dictionary and I still can't figure out what that means.
What means
woke?
Woke?
Yeah.
Oh Lord, you're getting into a whole pile of it right there.
We won't get on that tonight, but
no, you gotta have to ring up a politician club for that. Political club. Charlie, do you have a gun? Do you hunt?
I don't hunt, but I got a shotgun. I got a 22.
You fish, you farm.
I always wanted one of them.
You fish, you farm, and do you believe in just two genders?
Yeah.
Then you're not woke. If you believe that it takes a bull to make a baby with a heifer or a cow, then you okay.
All right, Darren. I think I'll do that. We'll do that for the green room. But I'm still thinking about that word, and I can. It's almost come to me, but Let's see. But anyway, I sit there and compare other conferences, which are nowhere near what Knobby is as far as the amount of vendors and stuff. And that, like the other chat I was telling you about, the guy said, well, vendor's a vendor. They all got the same thing. And I'm like, you ain't been there. I said, it isn't just everybody has woodenware. It's like some people have woodenware. Some people have the insulated ties, and you got companies. What's the one? It's like the Swiss Army knife of beehives. What's those ones? The plastic
Apame.
Apame. That the Apame company is there.
And I'll tell you what, you can get some good deals on those Apame hives at the Nobby.
And then you got, I was trying to explain to him, I said, well, you got people trying to sell queens from all over around the place and bees. And then there's this year, I said, there's cow and extraction line. I said, commercial setups. Not that I'm going to buy one, but I always like to see that kind of stuff. I'm into machinery and stuff. And
that would be pretty awesome if the show was at a time of the year where they would actually sell bees and packages and Nucs at the show. You go pick up some queens that you might need, like a different breed of queen or something like that. But it's at the time of the year where everybody's locked in for the winter.
I like that one there.
And hey,
everybody.
Hey, James, I watched a comedian one night. He says, "Who gave him the right to steal the rainbow?" You go to school when you was little and you was in class. You used to draw a picture of your house, the rainbow and the sun, and they took the rainbow.
But anyway, all right. And Brad here's from up in Manitoba.
Hey, Bracken. Glad you could join.
Hey, Brad. Yeah, I watched quite a few of your videos as well.
Oh, thanks, man.
Yeah.
I watch them all. Not quite a few. I watch them all.
See, Bracken, you're amongst famous people.
Yeah, I know. I need to slowly.
Just a humble beekeeper.
Hey, Brad, I wanted to ask you something. Your videos, did you put out the same video twice or something? Because it came up in my feed. I watched the video like about a week ago, and then
it was about your mic count.
Yeah, it came up again. Like it said like posted 9 hours again. So I said, oh, that's a new video, and I watched it again, and it was the same video.
Well, sometimes there's overlap on footage, but it's not the same video. But quite often, and you'll see that coming up in the next week or two, I just take footage as I'm working, right? So then I have to decide what goes in the vlog and what goes in, because if I do a vlog that's 2.5 hours long, it's like, oh my goodness. So if I have a particular topic, like for example, this thing is going to get its own video, right?
What is that? I can't hardly see it. What is?
That's
the vaporizer. Okay.
Compact, yeah. So it's just something new I got, and I really like it. So I did a video on it, and there's a little bit in the vlog coming up tomorrow, but there's going to be a lot more coming up probably next week, probably about Tuesday, I think it's going to come out.
Okay.
And there's a couple of more topics. There's my moving bees video. There's one on my wax rendering that I've been doing. So there is overlap in the vlog, but then the video that comes out will just have more detail and, because the vlog, I have to remember what the format of the vlog is. It's supposed to be something that's just quick and easy, quick cuts, easy stuff. It's not. Somebody asked in the comments one time, they said, well, why don't you show us everything you're doing instead of just talking about it? Well, because that's the vlog, right? The vlog is me just telling you what's going on. Sometimes showing you what's going on, but not usually in a lot of detail. It's just kind of just a general log. If there's a topic that I want to show you something that's going on, show you in detail, that's going to take more time, then that's going to be a standalone video. And you can kind of tell the differences. And well, I mean, the vlogs always say vlog, changed it to B log at the beginning, but the standalone videos always have my intro music, my little intro graphic music thing. The vlogs don't, and
Okay.
that's because of the idea when I came up with the vlog to do it. It was just, well, okay, let's do this. We can take some video every day, which isn't every day, but we can put this out once a week, but it has to be quick and easy. I can't have any fancy editing, which I always get into anyway. So that's just kind of what the vlog is supposed to be. But often it ends up being my only video anyway. But so that's where you're seeing. You will see, if you watch the vlog on the weekend, and then next week you watch another video of mine, you'll be saying, haven't I seen this? Because you probably have snippets of it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That explains it then.
Yeah, it's probably what you're seeing. Hey, Doug.
Brad. Yeah.
Hey, what's going on, Doug?
Thanks, buddy.
Brad, I got a question for you there on that compact
Yes, sir.
vaporizer. I have the first generation one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you think it's worth the upgrade difference?
I don't know. Tom was on here talking with Tom Sauceman the other day, and he said he has both. And he said the compact, in his estimation and what he's doing, he runs them both side by side. And he says the compact's a little faster.
So I guess if speed is the only, I guess I'd have to weigh that in whether or not
I don't think I'd upgrade, right? If you're having problems or something. You know what? I talked to Janos for about an hour on the phone today, oddly enough. And he told me so much about that vaporizer. It's just incredible what he went through to develop this thing and build it. The build quality on this thing is unbelievable. I can't believe anybody would, in this day and age, build a unit that's this robust, this well engineered, this well designed, this well thought out. Let me give you an example of that. So this little unit has a light. There's no display on it that shows you the temperature, etc., and you can't change it. It's all dialed in at the factory. So it has a light that tells you when it's done vaporizing. Okay, so if you think about that, and you think about that plunger that's there, you can dial that plunger in, as you know, from 1 to 4 grams, anywhere in there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you dial it into 3 grams, you're going to dial it into a little more than 3 grams or a little less than 3 grams, right? You're not going to get it right on. So how does this guy know how long to vapor? Like, how is he going to tell how long to vaporize that? Well, what he's done is there's actually a little microprocessor in here. There's a little program, and he's programmed this thing so that when you dump the acid into the burn bowl, the microprocessor looks at the temperature drop, and he's done all the tests to know exactly what the temperature drop is for every different amount of oxalic acid. And from the temperature drop, the instantaneous temperature drop, the microprocessor says that's 3 grams. And then it sets the timing for vaporizing off 3 grams of oxalic acid, and he knows exactly how long it takes. So this will take, with 2 grams of oxalic acid, it'll take 30 seconds on the nose every single time, right? So the reason I just bring that up is because, like, this guy, this is not just a fly-by-night thing. Like, these things, this guy is really, I think he said he's an electrical engineer. He's really thought these things out. And
How does
as you know from having the original one, the build quality is absolute second.
Yeah, I love my old one. I think I'm just the I kind of want the newest, the new fancy one.
Well, here's one advantage. That this one has. Go out of the way here. This burn bowl he has right here.
Yeah.
So there's no insulation in here. There's just an air gap. So there's the burn chamber, and then there's what you see. So there's an air gap between the two. So because the original there's a small problem that some people can have with the original. If they wash it and they get water that goes down inside that, there's insulation around the burn chamber. The insulation gets wet, and then the burn chamber can't heat up hotter than 100 C, right? And he said
Right.
also sometimes that moisture can infiltrate backwards into the electronics and cause a problem. So the fact that there's no insulation in this one is actually a benefit. And when I vaporize, it's not warm out. I was doing it at 3 and 4 degrees last week, and it was working great. I'm completely in love with that thing.
You just have the one.
Well, I fell in love with it so fast. I ordered another one. I went and picked it up. So tomorrow I'll be doing more acid, and I'll be using both of them.
You'll be sleeping in the trailer, Brad.
I might be sleeping in the trailer. Just don't tell my wife. She's in the next room. I have to be quiet.
No, I only had one. Just one.
So would I buy another one to upgrade? I don't know. It's a lot of money, right?
Yeah.
And if you're going to be using 2, now you have to consider what's my battery capacity, and if my battery capacity is not enough to do my whole yard, what's my recharge capacity and rate, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I don't have quite enough. But what I'm hoping is I can blast through it and run out of battery and then go for lunch and then come back or something like that. I will be getting more batteries. I have the Milwaukee system, as you can probably see in the picture.
Yeah, well, that's what I use.
And they have a rapid charger that is about twice as fast as a standard charger. So I need to buy a rapid charger, and I need to buy another battery or 2. I have quite a few batteries, but I need to buy another battery or 2 so that I can get through my yard without having to stop because I need to charge batteries.
I find with mine, you got to have at least a 5-amp battery at least to make them, work good. I tried using the little small batteries, and it warms them up, and you get maybe two hives out of it, and it's out.
Yeah,
that's right. I have some little 1.5s. I use those for my screw gun in the wood shop in the winter. I'm driving 5,000 screws in 2 or 3 months, right? And so I wanted to minimize the weight on the tool. I'm in the shop. I'm right beside my charger, right? So I bought some 1.5s. They're the smallest ones they make. So it's perfect for that. But I charge them and take them out anyway because I'm thinking, you know what? If I'm out of batteries and I got 1 or 2 colonies left, then this is my savior right here. I'll put this little tiny battery in. And because that's all they'll do. They'll do 2 or 3 colonies, really. But yeah, boy, I'm in love with that thing. And
yeah, I like mine.
I got no coupon codes or nothing. Like I just really, really like that machine, and it's made it so convenient and so it's so much less hassle that I'm going to be treating my bees so much more with Oxalic.
Yeah,
I'm going to treat them in the spring. I'm going to treat them in the summer. And I know the whole thing about brood, et cetera, et cetera. And there's the boss right there. And,
all right, Bracken, I told you he was listening in.
I'm going to blast him.
Now
anyway.
now you can ask all your questions about his bee battery.
I need to get him getting his cranked up.
He's taking a picture.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Oh man,
Good to see you.
What are you drinking there? You look a little sideways on that couch.
No, my wife's watching horror movies, and I can't stand horror movies, so I'm in the bedroom.
Me neither.
I just got in from the tractor. I was listening to you guys earlier on the tractor, and I just got in out of the shower and drinking some wine. So don't let me interrupt you, Brad. You're talking about the vaporizer.
No problem. Just telling him my love affair with the instant vap.
Oh, I tell you, I got one of the instant ones, and then I got one of the older one, the carded ones with the little blue caps, and that new one just whips ass on that other one. I mean, it's so much slower with that extension card and those blue caps that you got to put in each one of them.
And what I like the one about what Brad's got there now is those big teeth, I guess you call them, where they hook in. It seemed like they hook into the bottom board
Into
or
the
whatever,
hive.
into
Yeah.
the hive where it holds it in place. Because I've got the ProVap, and I've got to use like a board that I made up to kind of support it as it's in the back of the hive because I've already broken that copper tubing off one time.
Yeah, that copper tube will bend and break off. The Instant Vap uses a brass tube, and it's replaceable. If you won't damage it, it's really strong, but you can thread it off of there and thread a new one on there if you need to. And yeah, the thing sits right on the front of the bottom board, and then those little teeth just kind of sit right under the. It's made for a 3/4 entrance, so if you have a 3/8 entrance, it'll still work, but not as perfectly. Little teeth that hold right under the box. And even if I used to treat by sticking the tube right through let me see if I can point here, right through the side of the box, right about there. So I'd blow the vapor in behind the frames. So it was hanging right on the tube, and that's what kind of was hard on the ProVap. But this thing, even with the weight of that battery, that tube is so strong, not an issue. It'll stick
Yeah.
in there, and that tube would be absolutely fine. A very robust machine, very robust.
So you treat out the front of your hive or through the
I
front?
do the entrance now.
Mhm.
Yeah, because it works so well. It's
Well,
beautiful
Yeah.
to just
You
stick
got
it in the
pallets
entrance.
too, you know.
Yeah. Let me see if I can move to the side here, and you can kind of see.
Perfect day for it today, Brad. No wind,
Yeah,
enough humidity that vapor it just hangs in there when you get
right.
midday.
Well, I'm going to try to go out early tomorrow before it gets too warm. I prefer it to be cooler. Like about 4 or 5 C is just perfect. That's
Yeah.
what it
Did you
was the
have-
other day. Tuesday.
Did you have any problems with your oxalic acid being too dry with the plunger?
Yeah, I opened a brand new tube. You'll see that on the video I make. I opened a brand new container, and it was it wouldn't cake in the thing, so I just turned it sideways and pushed it in, and it was fine.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. The older acid that I have, it will have absorbed a bit of moisture, and it'll cake better.
It works. I find it works better when it holds
That's
in
right.
that plunger.
Now,
Some
Tom,
people actually add a cap full of water to the container.
yeah, that's what Tom from Via High said. The new stuff they would add just like you said, a cap full of water and stir it up, and it would be a little more moist
Cakey.
and would stay up in there, cakey. And
I
it
don't
would
find
stay
it a
up in the
problem.
plunger.
I just put my container sideways and Bob's your uncle, no problem.
That's
So, Ian, what's happening? And I mean, you're obviously disking. Are you speed
Tractor
disking?
man.
Yeah, I'm on the tractor. Yeah. She's doing all the bee work. She's holding the fort down. She went through, 280 colonies today, pulling pails and pulling strips, and I'm taking all my wafers out too and shaking, like washing for mites. So she's doing all the bee work. Kind of miss my babies, actually. I want to get back to them. It's nice to have a break, but I want to get back to them too. But another few thousand acres to speed disc, and we still have a couple quarters of corn, a couple quarters of sunflowers, and that's it. Yeah, so it's steady.
It won't be long. You'll be in that shed with that red light, sweeping those bees.
How's your have they got the chiller put in, Ian?
No, I was talking to the guy today, and he has all the materials in. I had my electrician stop by, so he's ordered all the electrical components and everything.
Yeah.
So that should be put in this coming week. Hopefully, middle of the week. Well, hopefully into next week, I'll have the thing fired up and going.
That's really exciting.
Yeah, I told my electrician every time he comes to the honey farm, I tell him, he says, when do you want it done? I said, well, there's going to be bees here in about a week, so I would like it done right away. And he's Johnny on the spot.
Yeah, it's like, that's up to you, but in a week, bees in here, so.
Yeah, I told him that this time. He says, I was waiting for you to say that.
Gets people motivated.
It's funny you guys say that. I had a new roof this summer replaced, and then I had fascia wrap, and then gutters replaced, and it was all bee dependent. The guy showed up, and it was a really hot day, and they were late, and the whole yard was full of bees. Like, nope, we can't work today.
So you done? I guess you're done pollinating here, aren't you, Jack? Up there in New Jersey.
Oh yeah, yeah. Things are wrapping up. I'm doing last minute feedings, and I actually wanted. I jumped in, Brad. I joined the bandwagon with the mini Vap, the one that you got. It arrived today. 2 days shipping. It arrived, and I went out there right away and I tested it. Oh my god!
That's nice, isn't it?
Holy cow!
It's a game changer.
And I ordered a second plunger, right? So,
Yeah.
and I use a 4 amp battery. I got the rigid version.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I ordered 8 amp batteries, and they're not going to be until next week from Home Depot. So I grabbed my 4 amp battery, and I'm like, all right, let me just try it. And I grabbed one, and I went out in the field, and as soon as I turned on the on button, it depleted 4 bars down to 1 bar, and I'm like, oh crap, I'm not going to get through not even 1 hive, but it made it through 4.
I was going to say it probably did about 4 then. Yeah.
It did 4 hives,
Yeah.
and because there's a rebound actually in it, in the battery, so it took that much voltage to heat up the chamber, and then after it was hot, all I had to do was switch between the first, you know, the chamber, I guess would, where you put the oxalic acid in the plunger, and then just keep switching it. And it took about 10 seconds between the first plunger was done and
Yeah.
it was ready to do the second one.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
It's
oh
fast.
my God.
You doing 2 grams?
I was doing 4 grams,
Oh, you doing 4?
4 grams, and it was ready in 10 seconds.
Wow. How many volts is that rigid battery?
It's 4 amp hours. So
Is it a 18
oh no,
volt battery or
it's
20
18.
volt?
I'm sorry,
18
it's an 18
Yeah. The
volt battery.
Milwaukee's are 18. The DeWalt's are 20.
Yeah, it's an 18 volt battery. Yep.
Yeah, I'm really taken with the thing, and I bought a second one, and I bought another plunger, so I have 3 plungers now, and so I can do exactly that. I can have one ready, switch one out, put it in, switch the other one out, put it in, and load it up, and I should never have to really wait on anything.
No.
Are the plungers different than the first one? Will the first plungers work in that compact one?
The originals, I don't know.
I think they're all the same.
He came out with. Did you see the video that he made recently? Like yesterday, he came out with one called the Light. It's an Instant Vap Light that seems to have a shorter plunger on it. So I think that one might be different. That's a nifty unit.
Yeah, but that compact one uses the same as that.
I think it's the same. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because I have a couple plungers for that one, but if I was to get that one, I wouldn't know if I'd have to change plungers or if they're universal.
Yeah.
I think if probably Rob thought about that, and he would make that universal.
Oh, Rob didn't build those things at all. They're built in Hungary.
Well, yeah. The
man's name is Janos. Rob just imports them. Just like SUV. They don't make them.
Yeah, Janos. I think that he would make it universal. He's a smart guy.
He's an extremely smart guy. I don't know if you heard me say. I talked to him about an hour on the phone today.
I did.
Really smart guy.
Yeah.
Seems like a really high integrity guy too.
I just, what? When I opened up the box, I've lifted it. I'm like, wow, this is a hefty. It's got some weight to it. This is not just a piece of junk.
This ain't made in China.
No, it's not made in China. It's really, really well made.
That was my first impression too. It was holy smokes.
Yeah. So if anybody's on the fence, pull the trigger.
Yeah, do it. It's a
Old
magical little machine.
We were using the generator and cords.
Yeah. ProVaps, did you say?
Nathan uses a ProVap. I have one of Jorgie's.
Yeah. The generator is going to be unemployed.
Well,
You know what? I had no problem with my ProVap except the two-piece bowl started leaking on me, and I couldn't. I tried everything I could to make it not leak, and I
Yeah.
couldn't make it not leak. But I used that for years. It served me
Y'all
well.
ought to, up there
Years.
in Canada, y'all ought to be getting some carbon credits for all them batteries y'all using instead of the generators.
Yeah, because the electricity drops out of the sky. Actually, mine does because I charge it off my solar panel at the corner of the yard.
we got all 8 yards done today anyway.
You can't
Eight
capture
yards.
the
Doug, how many grams are you using? Did you say
6.
6 grams? Whew.
6. Ooh.
How
Wow.
long does it take to burn that off in those little units?
Oh, 30 seconds, 40
30
seconds. Yeah, not very long. That's on doubles, eh? Too.
On doubles, yeah. If you don't mind me asking, why did you choose 6?
Well, we've started out using 2 on them, and
Yeah.
it seemed to work. But the 4 was better, and 6 seems to be even better.
More is better.
More is better.
Well, then,
Doug, I have to agree with you there because that's what I'm using.
More is
He said
better.
he can't use 7 because it don't fit in the machine.
I only use 6 because 7 don't fit.
Well, neither does 6. I have to load it twice.
Now, what are you using the instant bat, Doug, or what? Or Pro Bat?
Yeah, Nathan uses a ProVap. I've got mine is made by a guy out in Alberta.
Okay.
Oh,
No,
you
I got the
that
Pro
one.
Bat. and
Okay. That's
what I
supposed to be a
did
really
was
good one.
is I measured out what I normally scoop when I had the caps, and you scoop it up and
Mhm.
put it in the caps and put the thing upside down and flip it and all that stuff. And it came out to about 6 grams. And so then I just on that plunger that ProVat put out, I just screwed it back about 1/4 of an inch and it come out exactly at 6 grams. So I hit it one time, but with my ProVap, I hook it up to the generator. I think by the time, well, of course, I'm looking at the numbers going where it goes down and it starts coming back up. It probably 45 seconds or so, something like that. Before,
What brand is that? Because mine only holds 4 grams.
Is he still making those, Doug?
He was up until a year ago anyway.
Yeah.
Brad.
It's
I
kind
bought
of a
it back
small
up. I got
producer
it.
in Alberta, Brad.
What, the Canadian guy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, Brad, you were saying what the applicator that I have, you mean?
Yeah, because my plunger only holds 4 grams.
Yeah, well,
if
we
you
take
wanted
that screw of that nut, you just kind of wing that thing back a little bit more. The
Oh,
thing is,
really?
you gotta pull the plunger back because the spring's a little weak
Uh-huh.
there.
Oh, okay. I didn't know you could
Yeah,
So-
well,
so
just
for like-
taking there's a nut and
well.
a spring there, and just back
So
that
you-
thing up a little bit.
If we was to convert that in Cajun language, that's like pulling the plug out the shotgun when you go duck hunting.
That's exactly right. Yep.
Hey,
Yes,
Doug,
we
what
have
kind of mite counts are you running?
I haven't checked since the last time. I'll check in the styrofoam yard here next week again.
Where did you start? What were the mite counts when you checked them?
All over the map.
Yeah.
The first one, I think I counted 30 mites in my first shake. Next one, I was about 24
Yeah.
on a couple of hives, and then further down the yard, 2s and 3s, and
Yeah.
Apivar worked on some it didn't.
Yeah.
I don't know what. We're scratching our head to what we do, from now on. I think Apivar is out of the question right now.
Yeah, so I wonder, does anybody have faith in Apivar anymore?
I quit. I know that because I went to Apagard and it works great for me now. I mean, you just got to watch the temperatures of how hot it is down here, but
Yeah.
I like it. This is
I
the
don't
first
know,
time
I
I've
had-
used it.
I put Apivar in, at the end of July, and it was coming on the last week that was coming out. The bee inspector was here, which I participated in that National Honeybee Survey. So she asked me, "Are you going to back this up with something else?" I said, "Yeah, with Formic Pro," because she was seeing mites on some drone brood, and so, like I said earlier in the program, I'm gonna get that documentation back from the laboratories, and I know it's going to be higher than what it was when I got it done 3 years ago, as far as the mite count. But I think that's going to kind of give me some good information on what
Yeah.
Apivar is going to, what efficacy is it, how is it doing and stuff like that, and all that stuff. So we'll see. It'll probably be a couple more months before I get that information back. So I don't think it's not doing what it does, and I think I'm gonna, because of the weather conditions, whether AprilGuard, which is thymol, Ian, it's in a gel form.
Have you ever
I
tried
know
it, Ian?
Huh? What's
The
that?
AprilGuard.
No, we don't have that available up here.
Oh,
We
okay.
have
Got
the
it.
registered products. That is, we have Happy Life Var and Thymovar.
Yeah, I don't. Is thymogard like a gel, Ian?
No, both of them are coming in wafer, and they're not just thymol. They have other stuff in there too.
Well, this here is like a white gel. You mix it up, white gel, and then you got a syringe. You can pull it up.
Yeah.
Full dose is 50 grams. A half dose is 25 grams. A full dose,
Is that a straight thymol, or do they put other types
I think it's a straight thymol.
straight
Yeah.
thymol?
And
I think-
if it's a 50-gram dose, that's you put that in the hive on a card for 2 weeks. Come back and hit them again with another 50-gram dose, and then you're done.
Yeah.
If you're going to do a half dose, then you put it in each week at 25 grams per dose, and all that. Or you can do, let's see, Brad, you did what, 33?
I did 33 three
For 3
times
weeks.
a week. Oh, yeah, a week apart. And I dropped hives that were checking in at 15 mites, 20 mites, 25 mites down to zeros when I rechecked. So, I mean, this first time I've used it, and I love it. I mean, I've never seen
Now,
mite drop.
I know that
drop like
Ian
that.
Ian and Brad are always worried about, does it shut your queen down? That's what I've always heard.
It didn't. Of course, I used it, like I said, when it was in the 80s. I didn't do it when it was real hot in the 90s and stuff like that. And like I said, I didn't have any brood mishaps, or the queen still laid. There wasn't no spaces between, seeing larvae and eggs and cat brood. Like I told you earlier, the only thing I noticed out of 70 hives, I had 5 queenless hives, and I can't contribute it to the AprilGuard. I don't know what happened to the queens.
Don't you like that, Ian? It was in the 80s. It's not like it was hot or anything.
I'm sweating just listening.
Holy crap.
That's
Go
20
outside if it's in the 80s.
that's 27C.
Yeah.
But now,
Sorry.
Ian, you got to remember something. He's in Louisiana, down in the deep south. So
27C
normally
is,
his
oh
is
my God, we're not gonna work
105
in
when he
that today.
walks out, with humidity like 89%.
Yeah,
And
you
and I
got to have
think
windshield
Brad-
wipers on your eyes for the humidity.
It's like Brad said. I asked him about that. He said, "Well, it's like when you walk outside, it's like somebody hit you in the face with a wet mop."
Yeah.
Oh, jeez. Yuck.
That sounds really funny. It's all like it was
Yeah.
hot.
Man,
Charlie, I
I
have to laugh.
call
You have a conversion chart there on your desk.
Yeah.
I do.
Hey, Charlie,
Deals with these Canadians too much.
What?
if can I add a little northeast? I'm in New Jersey, and you know that. But so I put AprilGuard on my hives, and I think I did see queens shut down. And I put AprilGuard on the hives, and I did the right treatments, and they rebounded really nice afterwards. So I did the 50 gram, two treatments of 50 grams, I think it was, you know, two treatments of cover the whole pad, the whole cardboard tray, and they rebounded perfectly. But I
Now,
think
Well,
when
I've
did you
heard
do
that.
that, Jack? And what was the temperature?
it was in, let's see, like I harvested in
Was it August?
end of June, July. Yeah, so it was August.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's hot. Everybody that I know that used it, because I looked up a lot of people that, because since I was using it for the first time, if you're using that the full dose in higher temperatures, the queen will shut down.
Yes.
So
Okay.
that's why I use 33, and I used 3 doses instead of two, and I did it while it was 80 degrees, and I didn't have no queen shut down.
Yeah, that's probably the difference. You're right. You're right, Brad.
Yeah,
Uh,
even like, because like in the hot areas, like Mike Berry uses it, and he only did the 2 dose, and he said his queen shut down. But I mean, it's not like an extended shutdown. It's not like
No,
a whole week or two of missing brood. It's like a couple of days while it's real strong in the hive, and then that's it. She's back at it again.
it's so hard to time these treatments without affecting production, right? So
Yeah,
So did they pull the brood out, or did they just pause?
that it just paused. There's no.
it
I
paused.
didn't notice any killing or anything like that, or removing the brood. What was there continued to be capped and stuff like that. Um, but as far as what I can tell from the other guys that I talked to, it's just a little pause in her laying.
Yeah,
It's like,
I agree.
Yeah,
but if you go with the small,
what I seen with the Happy Life Bar, there's more than just thymol in there too. So I'm not exactly sure what I'm seeing, but they were actually taking the little larvae out and throwing them out.
Mhm.
But we're at the end of the nest, so the nest was shrinking anyway. So whether they just said F it and we're done, or whether I'm going to test it in the spring to see how a springtime nest would react to that type of treatment. Because the fall,
well,
there's a lot of different dynamics going on, and
Mhm.
you screw around with those dynamics a little bit, and sometimes those bees will just they just cut and run, right?
Yeah.
So it's hard to
Yeah,
tell
well,
what's going on.
that's like I was
Yeah.
watching your videos, Ian, in the springtime where you put Formic Pro on,
Yeah.
and because of your climate, you don't want that hive to shut down. You're wanting them to
No.
build up.
Yeah.
And me and Brad were talking about it one other time about that. And I said, well, we treat after the flow, and then you're trying to also build up your winter bees. It's a kind of a double-edged sword there in your
yeah,
environment
Yeah.
and all.
I
But
think it would maybe benefit more in the springtime, where you have more, like right when you bring them out the hives to do a quick kill on them to. I don't know, it's kind of hard with your climate, a
Ooh,
little bit
yeah,
of
right
time
out
you
of the
got.
shed. That's a dicey time. They are broodless. I understand that, but you don't want any interruption. You want to give that queen everything that she needs and everything she wants to build that
Mhm.
nest, because we're flipping a real old population out. So it would have to be later on in spring once they switch that old nest into a young
How
nest.
about smaller doses, like
As
where
long
it
as it
doesn't
kills the
affect her?
mites. Yeah, as long as we don't defeat the purpose. Yeah. 'Cause
Yeah.
I don't know enough about the product to say yay and nay on that, but
yeah. But
Mhm.
I don't think you can do smaller doses, right? They're in a
You can
prepackaged.
do a 25 4 weeks.
yeah, but
You
see,
can.
they don't have April Guard in Canada. They got to use April Life VAR,
Um,
which is just wafers.
Oh,
we
I'm
could
sorry.
buy
okay.
thymol and just do like a Randy Oliver recipe thymol. I'm thinking about that.
I thought you were
Mhm.
talking about Formic Pro.
Mm.
No, no,
Formic Pro. Yeah.
no. I don't like that stuff. That stuff will shut down a hive, and they
Yeah.
will kill brood if it's too hot.
Yeah, I hit the conditions just perfectly wrong. It wasn't hot. It was around the 18s to 20s. So it wasn't the heat that got me. It was probably other conditions, but they stripped every open brood in that nest right out. Like there wasn't anything. And then they killed queens. Yeah. So it was pretty harsh for me,
From
but
the
I think I
Formic.
hit
And that
just the wrong
was
conditions.
you're in the yeah that to convert that you're in the 60s. I mean
Yeah, I thought I was pretty
that's
safe.
really minimal,
Yeah.
as far as temperature goes.
It's the lower end. Yeah.
Mhm.
There's a certain time in the spring I think we could afford to have the queen shut down to control a bit of swarming.
Yep.
But where I don't want anything to shut down is that late August into September. That's when
Yeah.
we have to be producing bees.
Yeah. See, it works out better
That's
for
where
us
this
because
really comes in. This doesn't shut them down.
Yeah.
yeah.
No,
Right.
no.
Well, and you don't have any brood though, like when you're doing that. See,
Well, it
we
depends on when. October is a really good time because that's why I always want to hit this mid to
yeah.
late October because it's
See, like right
almost
now
no
in
brood.
my hives, I've got 3 and 4 frames of brood because our fall flow is just hitting,
Thanks,
and
Clay.
this is when they build up. This is when they start building up for their winter. Because right now I got pollen coming in, and they're 4 or 5 frames of solid brood, and so that's why I did the apivar before they started building up their fall, because they already shut down during the third. Because we have 2 months of nothing, nothing coming in. So that's the best time to do it when they're not really producing any bees.
Yep.
Do you get
But-
that, Ian? Winter, 80.
Yeah, yeah.
Winter
Winter.
80.
Like, why do you call it winter?
Hey,
We
well,
just call it September.
I'll put it to you like this: we had a cold front come through. It was 70 degrees the other morning when we woke up,
Oh,
and I called my buddy. I said, "It feels like squirrel hunting season right now."
how did you survive that? Wow.
It's time to get out there. Get
Let's
your
put
tell you-
it,
jacket.
let's
I
put it
use
this
that-
way. Do you have a block heater on your car?
Yeah, it's blocking. What's that?
Well, I tell
You
you,
act-
I use that formic, and I watched the mite drop, and that formic, it was pretty much, it only dropped phoretic mites. I might as well just use the oxalic acid, and I would have saved myself all the open brood from being cannibalized, and I would have saved the queens, and I would have saved a shit ton of money. So,
Yeah.
we have to. Sometime, yeah, maybe I won't go any further on that.
That's
but-
exactly what I'm thinking, Ian. Because this thing, it's highly effective against phoretic mites for about 36 hours, I think. Right?
Yeah,
It's
the drops
24
don't
to
no more in a
36.
day. Yeah.
But
Is it?
the formic acid I did this September? That's a couple of days. Like that's minimally longer than this. Plus, it has the brood effect, right?
Yeah.
It shuts that down and whatnot. So I'm thinking I should have just got in there with this thing in September every 4 days or so, because that's what the formic. I didn't do the formic every 4 days, but that's what it's called for. I'm not sure
Yeah.
why I messed
Is
that
it
up.
legal for y'all to use the extended release pads with
Not
oxalic
yet.
acid?
Soon,
yet.
maybe.
Well, the question is, like in Ian's situation, for the amount of hives, do you have enough help, I'll say, and enough machines to be able to do that in a quick manner, I guess.
Yeah, that's a problem, is
do
manpower
this?
making the round. Yeah, it takes us a
Well,
week.
I don't know. Like how much longer does it take to do this than it takes to do, open the lid, scrape a place for a pad, get a little wafer, put a strip in, put a formic probe. What's the comparison? I don't know that this is.
But you're not doing that every 4 days, though, are you?
Yeah, but it's the
Formic
extended
Pro, you're not.
release, the extended release effect, right? Over time.
The extended
he's
release,
talking-
though, it's not going to give you a good knockdown. It'll give you
No, no.
maintenance.
You're right, Brad. Yeah.
Right.
It's
Apivar really is the only thing that does that, right?
Yeah, for the
But-
oxalic to do that, I'd have to do it every 4 days or every 5 days. Let's say every week. I'd have to go around the whole operation every week. Another week, so 3 weeks, 4 weeks. That's a good solid month of
Yeah.
vaporizing.
you got to buy Carrie a couple of these vaporizers.
He's already
that'd
got
be two.
two. You got two of them now.
She's got two. Oh, his battery must have gone dead again. Yeah, he's got two of the originals that they've been using.
One of the other pluses with the formic for us is, for me, when we're wintering outside, we don't have to crack that lid again. Like once it's sealed up, I like to leave them sealed in there, right?
Yeah.
Like popping that lid.
So you're using the dry lock pad?
No, we're just using like
And
we
The
use
vaporizer.
You're just
now.
leaving that. You're just leaving that substrate in there.
We
Amen.
don't. No, we don't use any of that. It's always been half of our OA. It's the only thing we've ever used.
Oh, I thought you said Formic. Sorry.
What about? I know they had those bazookas. You know, those. Did they really work
No,
for the commercial guy?
Sure they
Like
were.
the one Bob Benny had.
Yeah, great big long tube with they had air compressors on them and all that kind of
They're
crazy stuff.
complex and troublesome and fast and unmeterable.
Yeah,
Really.
that's why I thought they're unmeasurable, right? They're like
You
no
can't
way.
meter that. There's no way you could meter that.
You fog your whole hive out.
Yeah. Which, I mean, with OA, we're learning that it takes a lot to hurt the bees with OA, really.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we're
Yeah.
seeing.
Hey, Brad. So I adopted your pallet system, right? Your two-way pallet system,
Mm-hmm.
and I drilled holes in the back of the bottom board
Right?
for the OA application instead of just going through the front door.
Oh, okay. Just in the little shim? Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. And I use a golf tee, right, to plug it up, right, when I'm
Yeah.
done. So I did that, and I didn't know it's like all wood is not true, right? So I saw a lot of the vapors escaping along the bottoms of the pallet where the box meets the pallet.
Yeah.
So I think I'm just going to wrap that for the winter. This is my first year going into winter with a palletized system. So I think that's just what I'm going to do, right? Because they're not.
Maybe as your equipment gets a little older and gets a little more propolis buildup, it'll seal off better because that's a new equipment, right?
It's brand new.
Yeah.
It's
Is it
1
dipped,
year old.
wax dipped,
No, it's not wax dipped, and this is the
painted?
first winter it's going into.
Yeah. That's my guess. I do get some leakage there, but I mean, that's kind of why I overdose, right? Because there's a certain amount
Yeah.
of it just goes outside.
I do
Um,
too.
yeah,
And
same
I
here. They're all going to leak.
I have one other question. So I ratchet strap all my I ratchet strap the migratory lids
Yeah.
to the box, and I noticed in the front it starts to bow on the center of the pallet. So I'm wondering if I put another strengthening board underneath it or something like that. And I know you guys don't do that
How
because
wide is your center piece on that pallet? How long is that piece?
which piece are you talking about?
Well, I call it a front shim, but it's
Yeah,
the little
okay.
it's the little piece in the front right ahead of the front clip.
Yes.
It's about 2 inches.
It's kind of the
out.
entrance reducer, right?
Yeah, it reduces the entrance a little bit. It just gives the hives a little bit of separation. How long is that piece on yours?
Like I think like 4 inches probably
Only okay, like overall 4 inches.
on each side, on each
Okay.
side,
Okay,
left
yeah.
and right.
So did you use my plans offline or something?
I did, yes. Yep.
Okay, so it's 8 inches. So yeah, mine are 8 inches. So you're running your strap fore and aft, like it comes right down the front of the hive.
It's
up the
yeah.
back?
So I didn't run it so it covers both of the hives. Each
Yeah.
individual
straps.
hive is wrapped.
Yeah.
Yes,
Oh yeah, I've never
From-
done that.
from the front
So
to back.
exactly what are you accomplishing by ratcheting or like strapping them? And I'm not trying to be a smartass. I'm just
No.
trying to
So I
understand.
can open up one hive individually, one box, and I can feed it individually while the other one's still strapped.
But so you have to strap them down for like you need to hold that.
Why are
lid
you
on
using
your
the strap
door
jacket?
because of the wind or because of transport or for what
I'm-
reason?
All right, so I just strap them down because they're out yards,
Yeah.
and I just don't want. I don't know
Just-
what will happen to them. I
Have
don't
you
put.
used
I don't.
migratory covers before?
Excuse me.
Have you used migratory covers before? Or is this your first time?
This is my first year.
Okay.
And I don't
Um,
put blocks on them.
Yeah, I never do anything, and I don't know if I've ever had a cover blow off.
Really?
Um,
Okay.
Ian has, but his are slightly different than mine. The migratory covers stay on 100 times better than a telescoping cover. because what happens at telescoping cover, the wind comes along and hits the side of that box and goes up, and then away goes your cover. Well, that doesn't happen on a migratory cover,
Yes.
right? And they usually, I don't know how you made yours, but I make mine pretty tight. Like they're snug when they sit down on the front and back of that box. They're nice and snug. So they've got that, and then on the side, the wind can't get under them from the side because they're
Yeah.
flat.
I put the bubble wrap underneath and then
Yeah.
a migratory cover on top of that.
Yeah.
And they
Yeah.
propylize it, and it does, you know.
And if the cover might blow off, usually that bubble wrap won't because they've glued that down. It's really
Yes.
tight.
I always got to
Really
peel it off. It's like,
Yeah.
it sticks really, really well.
Yeah. So it might be a function of just your confidence with that cover staying on, and you might end up not having to strap those.
I think you're probably right.
Now, with your leakage of your OA, is it just a small little wisp of smoke coming out?
Yes. Yeah. So I could use a blue tape, like the painter's tape. That's
Yeah.
what I usually do.
Or
You could do
grab
that. But I
OA.
mean,
Or
Huh?
more.
but what I'm getting at is
my first few years, I drilled a 3/4 inch hole near the back of the hive through the pallet, put some screen on it for a drain. I don't do that anymore because the bees just cover them up.
Yes.
So sometimes my OA is shooting out the bottom out that hole. I don't worry about it too much.
We have an entrance reducer on, and it'll come out through the gap for the reducer.
Yeah, it's come
But-
out the cracks.
That's one of the
But
reasons.
I mean, if you're only losing a little bit, I mean, even with mine, I have screen bottoms and I put the coroplast on and I put 4 wedges in each corner, and I put styrofoam for the front entrance, and you'll get a little bit of leakage out the front and maybe a little bit on where it might leak out of where the coroplast is holding the screen closed. But
Yeah.
other than that, I mean, it kind of gives you an idea that, hey, it's working.
Yep.
And, you're only going to, if you can keep 95% of it in there, 90% in there, that's good enough.
And
And
it's cheaper than tape, really. Just
yeah.
put another gram in there.
Yeah.
And what's funny? I didn't bring it up because I'm worried about losing the OA vapor. I'm more testing the leaks in the boxes.
I mean, as far as winter, you mean?
Exactly. Yes. Where are my
Right.
air leaks going
Right.
into winter?
Right.
I would say, like Brad said, the bees are going to take care of that, with the
Been in
propyl.
on those pallets in those boxes all summer, right? I remember seeing
Yes.
those pallets last. When was it? June or something? You started using them.
I started in January and I built them and I deployed them in March. Yeah.
Wow. So they've been in there a long time. So they would have propylized anything they thought they should.
Yeah. This is my first overwintering with pallets.
Well, for wintering, my mind is it never hurts to tape that seam.
Yeah. It doesn't hurt, right?
It can mean a lot to the bees if there's a crack there.
Yes.
Yeah,
And I
and
double-
with
I
the
double-
OA, that's a good way to see too. Is this box tight? And if not, add some tape.
That's exactly what I was doing. And I went from behind to see where the leaks were. And I can see where they are.
I wonder if it's a imperfection in the box manufacturer or something. Maybe
It's
piece
I
is a little short.
I don't believe anybody makes a true box.
Oh, these are pretty good. I love these boxes. They're awesome.
Yeah, good stuff. Do you make
Who
those,
made
Brad?
those?
I don't make them. They're made by Lewis and Sons here in Manitoba. They're the place I go to get my equipment dipped, and they're all wax dipped. They're 2 hours drive from me.
Hey, Glade, why don't you come on in tonight?
I wish we.
What do they make their boxes out of?
Yeah.
That's pine.
Pine.
That's
Pine?
they either have eastern white pine or southern yellow pine. As 7/8 though, you can kind of see the box joints here might look a little different. It's a
Yeah.
7. It's surprising that 1/8 of an inch really makes a big difference. It's
I
a
wish
nice
I could-
heavy box.
I wish I could buy true boxes all the time.
Yeah, you and me both.
Yeah, for the price I buy boxes, they definitely want money for them, but even at that price, I ain't building boxes. I'm not building boxes.
I get that same thing with me being with the mill and everything. I'm like, forget it.
Yeah,
I can buy the darn things a
Yeah.
lot cheaper with less aggravation.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, there's nothing wrong with doing it if that's what you want to do. But you know what? I can do so many other things in my winter in my
Yeah.
rooftop. I can stay busy 100% of the time
Hey,
without building boxes,
hey,
and I
Brad,
hate building boxes. So
Brad, I'm surprised. Like I've been following you for a long time, right? And I see when winter comes and you go into the wood shop and you're building all these pallets for everybody. And I'm surprised you don't run out of things to make videos on.
well, if you just want to see videos on what I'm doing all day, there's an endless supply, but it's boring. It's like I'm going to cut 40 sheets of plywood in 10 pieces
Yeah.
each
Yep.
today.
Yep.
So this is what I'm going to do, and it's not very interesting.
Or I'm going to
Yeah.
use
Hey,
OA on 400 hives today.
Yeah, that's not very interesting.
we have some pretty boring winters too.
Yeah,
Hey,
here
welcome, Glade.
I've got 3,000 frames to build. That's what I'm going to
Ding,
do.
ding, ding,
Exactly.
ding, ding.
Hey, Glade.
Hello.
Hello, Glade.
All right, Glade, I watched your video there, and you're having major mite problems too this year. It seems like
No,
So
it's
what
not
have
a
you
good
tried?
year.
He charged his
There's-
battery. He's back.
Hey.
Got my wife's phone. She's still watching that horror movies are terrible. Just hate them.
Hopefully she
you have a
remembered to
you have a
charge her
good
battery.
wife.
For you.
You have a good wife because I couldn't rip mine out of mine's hands.
She watching a horror film. She didn't even
Huh?
notice.
Yeah.
No, mine could be
Somebody's
watching
screaming,
TV and
somebody's
looking at the
killing
phone at the same time.
She didn't want you watching anyway.
No, she doesn't. She told me to leave because I was complaining.
Well, we're glad to have you.
yeah. So, Glade, you had some serious high mite counts there on that last video. What have you been doing trying to knock them down?
OA,
OA?
Why?
just blast them.
So,
Just
what's your method? How much OA and how
Turn
close
your
together?
microphone up a little bit, Glade.
Hang on.
As long as Glade and Bracken don't speak at the same time, because his mic is really hot.
Mine is.
Oh yeah.
I don't know how to turn that on.
You know what,
Oh, that's
Bracken?
okay.
It's like an echo. It's like a feedback.
Echo in the
Don't-
room, Bracken.
Don't feel like you need to speak up.
Okay, I'll listen.
That's
That's-
perfect.
Okay.
So go ahead, Glade.
I'm just using, I used Formake and my mite counts were 15, 20, 25. After Formake, it was 12. So it knocked them back a little bit, but, and the Formake I used was a little bit expired. So that may have been part of the reason, but I also did 1 yard with Apiguard.
Mhm.
And it didn't knock them back very much either. But what the Formic did was it shut the queens right down. They quit laying completely, and I had almost no brood in the hive, no capped brood in the hive. They were just, when I pulled the Formic Pro strips out, they were they'd probably been laying 3 or 4 days. So there was brood again back in the hive. So I just turned around and just blasted them with 4 to 5 grams of OA.
Check your YouTube side and cut the mic off. I think it's on.
So, Glade, I'm going to tread lightly here, but you said something. My Formic Pro was slightly expired, and I want to strongly suggest that you not worry about that too much.
Well,
I have
I've
to be
used
careful. I have to be careful how I say that, but I'm just going to tell you that.
it was stored correctly. I mean, it was stored in a dry environment. It was kept well,
Yeah.
room temperature. Hadn't been opened at all. It was. I thought it would be just fine, and I've had really good luck with formic in the past. It does shut the queen down. That there for I don't know for 5 or 6 days. It shuts her right down.
How far over the date were you?
Oh, about 7 months, maybe 8 months.
You should be okay.
I wasn't particularly worried about it.
Yeah, that's all I wanted to say was don't use that fact as a major cause of problems. It shouldn't have been a big problem.
And like I said, I used Guard in one of my yards, and it gave me some knockback, but not near as much as I've had in the past with Guard. So neither one of them seemed to really knock my mite numbers down considerably. Some, but not.
Okay,
not
you're
great.
Utah.
Utah.
How does your season compare to ours? Are your bees shutting down? Your sealed brood is diminishing.
Oh yeah.
All that sort of. So you're probably similar to us then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Quite similar, I think.
Because your mite load is going to be increasing all the time because you got two things happening. Your sealed brood is declining and your adult bees are declining. So you've got more mites appearing out of the cells and fewer bees for them to appear on. So your washes are always going to increase. I was freaking out that my washes are increasing, but they weren't increasing in huge numbers, like 1 and 2 and 3 points. So I think I was still getting pretty good knockdown. It's just that they were kind of keeping up with that. I should have been bringing this thing out and blasting them.
How much Guard were you doing a dosed, Glade?
It was when I threw it in, it was still pretty warm around here. We were above 80. It was first part of September.
Right.
And we were still hitting 85 and even upper 80s. And so I initially just put a half a dose in.
Yeah, 25 grams.
The 25 grams. And then a week later came back. I was going to just do 25 grams, and probably a third 25 grams. But I came back a week later and our temps had dropped and we were in kind of just under 80, high 70s. And I thought, okay, it's cool enough now. I'm going to do a full dose. And so I did a 50-gram dose after that. And I felt like I should have been seeing a little bit lower mite counts, but the bees look good, and that's deceptive. They can look good and not be good, but they can crash quickly with the mites. But they even now they still look really good. So I think just having come back and blast them with OA a couple of times, I think that's done the trick. We finally got some rain out here. Bracken, you got rain, right?
Yeah, he said he did.
Yeah, we got a half inch.
My rain gauge is reading 0.94 for the last storm, which is huge for us out there. We don't ever get that kind of rain. So it's cold. We were high of 53 today. So I'm going to be a few days before I can go back out and actually do a mite wash on them. But I think I'm going to be okay.
Okay.
Well, I hope so.
So, I don't know. It seemed like to me that, stuff that we depend on is either not working or I don't know.
I think that what's great about this is that everybody is kind of experience the same things, maybe different times of years, different time of year, but this is what brings us all together. You know,
It's like Brad says, OA work.
OA works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially when it's, one thing I learned with OA is I do it throughout the winter months where the bees are pretty much broodless.
And I was,
And,
I'm Brad. I'm pointing this way. I'm pointing to your the new system. Buy that. OA all the
Buy
time.
that, buy that. And I don't have a coupon code. I've got nothing. I'm just a believer, right? I'm pretty excited about that
You
product.
know what? I think it's right up there with the Hive lifter.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you know what? And I got a caveat. I may be in a little different situation than some people. There's no secret. Ian's been mentoring me for years, but I've always got to take the context of what Ian's doing and what he's saying and what he's advising and put that in context of my operation. There's a lot of similarities, but they're not all. I don't have an easy loader. I don't have 1,500 colonies or more. I don't have an employee, right? I don't have a really smoking awesome honey house, this sort of thing. So you always got to take that a little bit of context.
Yes.
So I'm maybe in a little different situation than some.
Yeah.
When I always use the example that if I go buy a round of Apivar or Formic Pro to do my mite treatments, that's going to cost me $900. This thing cost me $5 or whatever it was, right? So I can buy a brand new one of these every year I want to do my fall treatments and still be spending half as much money as I would on Apivar, for example.
Yeah, that's what the guy was criticizing me buying 50 amp hours worth of batteries for my 2 Instavamps. And I said, well, I write a check for my Apivar every year.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yep.
And you're right. There's the cost of the batteries too. But I also have other tools that I use these batteries on. So that's not the case for everybody. If somebody's running 50 colonies, right, then a round of Apivar is $300. If somebody's running 10 colonies, a round of Apivar is $60. Well, if your Apivar is $60 and your Instant Vap is $500 plus $200 or $300 worth of batteries or whatever, that's a little less easy to swallow, right? It's a little less easy to just say, well, that's a deal. And I can say that because of the kind of just the scale, right? Because it just works. That's why when I started using that and I found myself, as fast as this thing is, I found myself having a little bit of waiting time. I thought, I need 2 of these, right? So I just phoned Mike up and said, Mike, you got another one? Yep, good. Be over tomorrow. Went over, got another one.
Yeah.
Of course, he's really, eager to take my money.
Yeah. Brad,
So,
I did.
but I can justify to use that less time because it takes me a lot of hours to do a round of this stuff.
Yeah, but now you're talking about the price of Apivar versus your machine there and all that. But when Apivar doesn't half work,
There's
are
no
you really?
excuse.
You're not, at a small scale is what I was getting at. Even though you're spending a little bit more money for your machine, it works.
Well, and I'm assuming that the Apivar is still working for you. I'm just making that comparison, because Formic Pro is kind of the same price. And I'm just making that comparison for I don't know what something like Apiguard costs because we don't have it, available here.
Well,
even
60
Apilife
pack of
R is not cheap.
A 6-pack of Apivar is not cheap.
What's that, Ian?
Yeah.
I was just going to say the only problem with that oxalic acid vapor is it's too late in the season. That's the problem.
It's a hell of a knockdown, though. It's a
yeah, but you consider brood, like you have these colonies coming out of summer, 8 or 9 frames of brood, and we're shaking no mites. We're not finding any mites because they're all in the brood.
Yeah, it's low.
So the treatment at that time basically does nothing until the brood is pretty much
infected already.
So then the winter nest is pretty much compromised at that time. So
Yeah.
it's an after the fact type of treatment. That's
Right.
the issue with that. Unless you're going to do it, so many times as that brood's emerging and trying to get those mites before they reintroduce themselves into that winter nest.
That's what I did with the formic acid, and it used up just as much time or more.
Yeah.
And what was my effect? My effect was no better than I think I would have gotten with Oxalic. And I had that brood thing, and I was freaking out by the fact that where are my winter bees here? Like, this nest is supposed to be my winter bees, and it's disappeared.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of worried.
Yeah, trade-offs. There's always trade-offs with everything.
And not only just the cost, but oxalic acid, I really love it because it's innocuous to the bees practically, right? It doesn't shut down
seems to
brood.
be.
It doesn't hurt the bees. Nobody says, "Oh, oxalic acid vapor killed my queen," right? Maybe dribble, but nobody ever
made her
says
run
that.
crazy.
What's that?
Made her run crazy in the
Yeah.
bees feeder.
Oh, yeah, they hate it. But it really, like Randy Oliver did all those tests, and he showed kind of how much it takes to kind of start to really damage the bees at all. It's a lot. Like, it's a lot.
Yeah.
So, that's a big plus for me because, again, our season is so compressed, right? There's no time in our season we can say we can lose 2 weeks of brood. No,
You guys can't have a brood break.
can't have that. No.
Yeah, it comes in really handy this time of year just to mop up the mites that are on that winter nest. It's very important to kill those mites on that winter nest because any mites on those bees on the winter cluster kills that winter cluster. Those mites zap that life out of the winter cluster. So yeah, we almost have to go into the shed with under 1%.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
My threshold is 2, but I mean I'm even thinking that's too much. We can't have any mites. Otherwise, if we have a bad spring, it just lights out for them. So that's where the oxalic
you
comes
can do oxalic acid way later in the season than you even want to do washes, right? So you don't really know.
I got a
Because
question.
I don't want to be doing washes the last week of October.
No.
So Ian, when you guys put your boxes away for the winter time, right, and you think that they're well, is there any checking on them? Like you just said, like, yeah, we hope we knock all the mites down, but there's no way to check them halfway through the winter.
No, but as they're going in, like right now, we're monitoring, so we're watching the nest, and as that brood nest is, basically Carrie dug down into the nest today, and there is just a little bit of brood in there, just hardly anything. So when we're doing our washes this time of year, we're counting no mites. Then we know that there's no mites in those colonies. So then before we put them into the shed, we held them with oxalic acid vapor. And like Brad said, that should get anything else. Most of anything else is within that nest. Yeah. So when they go in, there's a pretty good idea of what the condition they are.
And you feed them while they're in the shed, or you feed them before they go into the shed?
Before the shed, yeah, as much as we can. Sometimes we might have to emergency feed, but we try not to. So much work.
You want to get them as heavy as they are as singles.
Yeah, they're like
before they get stored.
And you have to understand, like, we're up in the north part, so these nests are going broodless, and we're backfilling and filling it right up with syrup. That's what I'm doing. That's my strategy. Something like that further south, you guys might want to watch because your bees are flying more and you need more of that regeneration. So, like, we go to a complete stop for about 5 months.
Completely, like, they can't move.
Yeah, they're like, there's no development. It's just basically they're just preserving themselves.
And Jack, they got 5 frames of sugar water honey in there.
That was my question.
10 frames of honey.
I'm going to try and show that every year.
Huh?
Every year I try to get just the right day on just the right time, like late October, to show that. And it's really hard to get just that day to do that video. But I really am going to try again this year to show in that hive, because I'll tell you, it is the weirdest damn thing to see. To open that box, a 10 frame single, and pull out, it looks like a honey super to pull out 10
Yes.
solid capped frames of sugar syrup. And there's this nice cluster of bees in there, and they're happy as can be.
And there's
But
only
it's
like
the
a
weirdest thing.
quarter full of frame of bees.
No, the whole it's a box of bees. Like it's a
Box
good,
bee.
nice cluster.
Yeah.
And
We
it
went
looks
around,
like a
we went outside. We got 2 deep boxes. We've got 20 frames of honey going into winter,
right.
and,
Yeah, it's weirdest thing.
2 boxes of bees.
Yeah.
And down here where we're at, Jack, it's like, oh, you don't want to fill up the brood nest.
Yes.
Yeah.
They'll warn us. You don't want to overfill because you're going to fill the brood nest up.
Yeah.
And you're
And
gonna have a
Because if you
swarm.
see that at any other time of the year, you see that, you think,
Yeah.
oh, this colony is dead, right? You see that it's right full. There's no brood. There's no brood here. Well, there's no queen, right? It's the craziest looking thing. I'll tell you, it's scary. It's really kind of scary.
So Brad, so you guys feed until there's no room left, right? But
Right.
the queen has already laid those bees and they've hatched and they're on the frames, and all of the open cells are backfilled with syrup,
Correct.
and the bees are just on top of the syrup.
Yep.
There's nowhere for the queen to lay any more eggs.
Correct.
All the bees are born and developed.
That's right.
Okay. All right. That's what I understand now.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, it's in theory. Like I got 9 years of theory here.
Yes.
It's still the craziest thing when I open
That's
that and see
it's
that.
so hard to understand
It's
that.
crazy to see. You think because it's just a honey super. It's just a honey super.
Because
And you
if
think, this is not a colony.
if we do that down here, my bees are going to swarm in November.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you guys
But-
play different dynamics. You're probably still on the edge of some development and stuff like that, or the bees are ready to go. Ours are shutting right down. Yeah,
Yeah.
They prepare their nest, like they're not just filling their nest full of pollen and honey, but they're also preparing their bodies full of fats and proteins. So they're a totally different bee than a summertime bee. They're a winter bee. They're packing themselves with as much, actually more important resource than they are within the nest, because they use this resource to build the bees 5 months down the line. It's an amazing thing, really, when you think of it. Like Brad said, I dig down into a nest in September as that nest is shrinking, and I'm not sure what I'm seeing. It's just so unnatural because we're looking through the nest all through the year. We're looking for growth, development,
Yes.
progression.
Yeah.
Now we're seeing a nest that's shrinking, and you're like, wow. The best thing I can do is go jump on a combine that time of year because there's not a damn thing it can do other than just watch it set itself up and do what they do. Yeah,
Trust the process. That's all you could do.
Trust the
Because there's
process.
literally nothing else you can do.
Yeah, it's so
Literally.
funny when I pull a frame and I see a brood nest shrinking. I'm like, oh man, this colony is in bad shape. But no, they're preparing for winter.
Yeah.
I'm so used to seeing a spring frame with wall-to-wall carpet brood, and it's so different. It's so different going into winter.
It's really, to me, when I think about it, it's really astounding how little bees eat. Like just the adult bees, how much they actually eat to survive. It's almost nothing. When feed is consumed in the hive, the vast majority of it is consumed to tend to the young. Right? I've heard people who should know, that peak season a colony can consume 100 pounds of honey a month to feed, one that's peak brooding season. And these bees will live on 60 pounds of feed for 5 months because they have no. So that's 60% as much feed for 5 times as long.
That makes sense.
Because they have little to no brood, right? It's just astounding how little they eat. I used to get really worried about feeding my bees early and getting done my feeding by, the second week in October, and then taking the pails away and saying, have a good winter, because I used to worry about, well, are they going to eat a lot of feed over the next few weeks before winter actually sets in? No, they don't. They got no brood. They don't eat
if they're not brooding, they're not,
almost nothing, right?
right? But
Yeah.
if they're brooding, they can. I've got a couple of hives with, that are on the hive scale, and they were consuming anywhere from a half a pound to a pound of syrup a day.
Yeah.
But they were brooding. So as soon as they shut down that brood, then Brad's right. Their consumption goes way down.
Yeah.
If
So,
the nests in the shed, they'll eat 5 to 7 pounds a month, a box of bees. And the Nucs, they'll eat half that. They'll eat 2 to 3 pounds. They actually eat less than half, 2 to 3 pounds a month of winter feed.
So that's
it's
less
hardly-
than a frame.
yeah.
That's a frame or less.
Yeah, the
see, ya.
rule of thumb.
Hey, Brad.
The old rule of thumb a beekeeper told me one time is 1 frame of feed for a frame of bees is what he told me, and that's about right.
All right, guys. It's 11 o'clock here. I'm going to go ahead and shut the live stream down. Everybody can just hang tight. Everybody, I'll see y'all next week, Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And until then, have a great beekeeping season.
Good night, everybody.
yes. Right, people.